All right, we're gonna go on a little swimmy swim. Think I might try to get to the reef over there. It's like maybe 400 meters out or so. Haven't done that in a while. Might give that a go. But it's gonna be a relaxed one today. These are mornings in the grow. Let's do it.
I'm waiting for something to change. Cause when I'm not here, it's like I'm flying. And I don't know why I feel pain. Cause when I'm not here, I keep on falling. I've been waiting in silence to see a little bit of fire, but all I see is you. Yeah, I've been waiting in silence to see a little bit of fire, but all I see is you.
There's a turtle, but it's so much faster than me. Couldn't catch him. I think he likes those little jellyfish things. I don't know what they are, but I don't like swimming in them. But I think the turtle likes to eat them. I think they're like little jellyfish thingies. I don't know. Not too far back, too far out. The reef is over here somewhere. We're close. Morning, Billy.
So I feel safe and sound. Yeah, I keep looking. I keep searching. I need you to be found. So I feel safe and sound. I've been hiding out for days next to
Hope you guys enjoyed that little break, that little swim break, if you will. Next up, we got some drone shots from a sunset, I think like 2 days ago or so. So a few more minutes, then we'll get back to the program here. Enjoy. hope you all are doing well and enjoying your Sunday afternoon wherever you are. Of course, I always like to hear which city, which state, country you are chiming in from. I know a lot of people just got ported over here from the Pinnacle premiere, which we're going to get into. Shortly. But of course, today we have, if you're not aware, we have a guest coming on, Jamie Gruber from the Dominican Republic, which I'm very excited to get into. But we're going to put a pause on that. He's going to be joining us in about 15 minutes or so. But I wanted to take this first few minutes to just have like a light discussion on the Pinnacle, and of course, I want to hear where you're from, so you keep that coming in. And then if we need to, want to discuss after we speak with Jamie, we can want to have a further discussion on anything. We can keep going. But I'm excited for the stream today. I'm excited to hear what you thought about the Pinnacle for those of you that were there, and then of course having Jamie on. So yeah, let's hop into the comments real quick, and we'll get things started. Exquisite Caribbean Queen says, I want to hear this because DR very interested in how they treat Africans, and the economics and growth starts with building great relationships. Interesting. Yeah, let me know as we get into the discussion with Jamie. Please have any questions that you want answered in the comment section here. Hey Chelsea, good to see you. Hey Donna. Sweet Feather says, beautiful, good afternoon, Throp and everyone. To you. Donna says, great video on the Pinnacle, so informative. Thank you so much. Punty says, Throp, good wishes to you, Throp, and all the Throppers in chat. Thank you. Mark McCarthy says, great content. Put me in the corner. Mark McCarthy says, great content. You really got boots on the ground. Yeah, this was good in the sense that boots on the ground for sure. But then also I was just so curious about the project already. So it was very easy to, ask questions. I'm just, an inquisitive person to begin with. So it was great to get all of my questions answered, and I figured there are a lot of them you all would be interested in as well. And we for sure want to continue to follow the journey of the Pinnacle, and we're in discussion with our leadership team on seeing how we can make this happen, because the way we looked at it and even went into it is this is just such a historic moment for Jamaica in so many different ways, especially of course, the architecture, the grandioseness of it, if you will, with 428-story towers, it's fantastic. But then also, again, as I really detailed the operations and the leadership team. So there's a lot of innovations happening, and I think it, just says so much about Jamaica. And like I said in the video, there's no way it can be overstated, how just crazy this is that this is happening in Jamaica, and in my opinion, in a good way. Okay, let's keep rolling here. Winner123, good to see you. Tanisha says, hi, Throp. I'm checking in from Riverview, Florida. Thank you for your services. Absolutely. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Joy Simpson says, hi from South Florida. Nice to have you, Joy. Tisha, what's going on? A wonderful Sunday afternoon to everyone. Thank you. Justin D. Good to see you as always, Justin. Isis Blue chiming in from Maryland. Olivia B from Brooklyn in the house. What is going on, Wanda? Doug says, bless up yourself, watching from California. Nice to have you, Doug, representing the West Coast. Sherry says, happy Sunday from Florida. Winner says, I have a question. Have you heard anything about the Ascent in New Kingston? And my second question is, do they plan on building more when they're done with the Pinnacle? I haven't really heard much from, we talked about this on the live stream, I want to say a year ago, the Ascent, that is. And I haven't heard much after, but we're actually looking to do some coverage in Kingston, because there continues to be a lot going on there. Sorry, one sec. Sorry, I had to move the fan. It's blazing here. Yeah, so I don't have any updated information on either of those. I don't know if they're doing anything else. The Pinnacle, that is. I'm not aware, at least at this point. Norman chiming in from Florida. Good to see you. Noel, afternoon. Chiming in from Ocala, Florida. Andrew Blake saying hi to Thropping family. Justin D says, if I can't just walk to the beach, then all the luxury of the Pinnacle is pointless to me. Oh, no, fair enough. Fair enough. Even if you have access to a helipad that can quickly bring me to my private jet. The Pinnacle is going to be a jewel of the Caribbean. I can see that. Char Treehouse says, good afternoon, Throp and Throppers. Best to all on sunny Caribbean island. Thanks for the Pinnacle video. Great work. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching, Char. And please listen, Adana, hit that like button. It really does help. It does help a lot. MDL says, hi, Throp and Throppers, chiming in from Washington, D.C. Good to see you, MDL. Hey, Miss Jackson. The Negro Treehouse is in the house. Good to see you. Thanks for hopping on. Empress Flames chiming in from Boston. Awesome. Nice to have you on. And I want to remind everybody too of the second live stream that we have now. And this is in conjunction with the Real Estate Association of Jamaica and their Expo. Let me see if I have this. Yes, so this is the International Real Estate Conference and Expo taking place from April 18th to April 20th, as a matter of fact, at the Montego Bay Convention Center. So leading up to this conference, and I'll continue to remind everybody, leading up to this conference, we are doing these weekly live streams. So the weekly live streams are going to be on Thursdays at 5 p.m. So every Thursday right up until the week of, we're going to be having these live streams. So you can get more information at irec.realtorsjamaica.org. I've partnered with them to do this web series and then also to do advertising on the channel here on every Sunday, making sure that everybody is well informed. This is kind of our shtick here, talking about real estate in Jamaica. And of course, the Pinnacle is a big one. And it's going to be in the Pinnacle's hometown, so to speak, of Montego Bay. So this is the International Real Estate Conference and Expo, Homeowners Expo. And that'll be next month. And I always forgot to mention it in the ad that I put out that I'm actually going to be a speaker there as well. So I'll be giving, I don't know if you want to call it a keynote or presentation, but I will be a speaker there at the conference. So I'm excited for that. Looking forward to that. All right, let's keep going through the comments. Nyquin says, from New Jersey, and I'm extremely happy about the real estate developments in Jamaica, and we'll be looking forward to getting involved. Awesome. I hope so. I think, we talk about it all the time here, but I think it's a fantastic, phenomenal time to get into real estate in Jamaica right now. And I mean, there's a lot of positive things happening here, at the end of the day. And I think a lot of it is, in my opinion, is like really, really undeniable. And I just hope more people get into it and really do their research. And, maybe it fits, maybe it doesn't fit their goals and what they're looking to achieve. But I hope at least they consider the opportunity. People of all walks of life, groups of friends, retirees, people who are trying to make a career out of real estate. And that's kind of my hope here in like kind of presenting these stories and presenting this information to the market is more so of an awareness standpoint than anything else. And yeah, that's it. And especially like the Jamaican diaspora, I think that's like the like I would say my target demographic more than anything else. Of course, anybody who's interested, but for sure, it's just like just know what's going on in your country of birth. At least what I'm able to present, and I continue to do that and bring this information to you all as much as I possibly can. Norman FL says, throughout the tourism landscape in Montego Bay and Jamaica is changing rapidly. It very, very much is in so many ways. If you like a couple of the hotels that Isia was talking about, forget the second one, but obviously the Princess is one of them, but she was working on, Isia is the lead architect for the Pinnacle. And these are massive developments that are continuing to roll out. And I mean, the pace is just so crazy, just so crazy, in which all of this is happening. So again, just encouraging people to look into it. Maybe it fits your investment appetite, your risk appetite, whatever have you. Shalom says, good afternoon. I'm missing Jamaica. Just watched the video on the Pinnacle. When are you going to roll out the Negril investment project? Waiting to hear. Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it. It's still up there. Yeah, for those that know, but yeah, we're working on something here in Negril. Noel Tully says, Thought we need to build more high rises in downtown Montego Bay, taller than 28 stories. So I think somebody said it in the comment. I think what you're going to find is this is just the beginning. I think there are going to be more investors and investment groups that come into the market, and they see what's happening, and they see this investment, this $350 million US investment, and they're going like, hey, what if we did one in Bogue? What if we did one in downtown Montego Bay? So on and so forth. I think that stuff is going to continue to happen, and maybe 28 stories is going to be a small building. It is in New York City. So I think that's the inevitably what's going to happen. But good point, Noel. Giselle Vlog says, lovely video on the Pinnacle Throp. You did an amazing edit as well. Big up you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Joan Richardson says, hey, Throp watching from Bermuda. This is so great to see as we own a home in Bogue, 2 minutes away. Great stuff. Thanks for being so detailed. All my questions are answered. Sure win for Jamaica. Thank you. And thank you for watching. Yep, I agree. I think this is a huge win for Jamaica in so many ways. Channel Coaching says, congrats on the speaking engagement. Thank you so much, Shanna. I appreciate it. Giselle Block says, honestly, the Pinnacle is building where you would want to come to Jamaica for. They are definitely setting an example for other developers in the Caribbean. I think so too, like in a very, very large way. Like it's, you've been trying to come up with the thumbnail and the title for this. Like it was just like, I don't know if we got it right, but you just never know with these things. But our main goal was to show that it's like things from this point forward are not going to be the same for Jamaica. For construction, for living, like all of that it's completely changed. It's just changed the game. And I know like people like to use that word game changer. Like this is a game changer. This is a turning point in the history of Jamaica from a private sector development standpoint. And we were trying to make sure that we hit that on the head with how we packaged it, so to speak. But we'll see if we hit the mark. And Giselle says, honestly think Jamaica needs another international airport. What if something happens to Mo Bay Airport? They need to open an airport in Negril. It's needed. I agree. I mean, not only for the emergency aspect, anything can happen for sure. But I just think, we hit January, I think it's January, February. We hit record numbers for tourists coming to Jamaica, and it's going to continue to grow in that direction. At least that's what all the evidence and the projections are showing. And if we continue to have these record-breaking months year over year, it's just like eventually you're going to reach a capacity at the airport, and eventually there's going to come to a point where Montego Bay Sanctions International Airport can no longer expand. And so I think Negril is a very good, and they're already trying. I should mention that they are looking to make the Negril Aerodrome that we have here already existing into an international airport. So I think your thinking is aligned, or at least our thinking is aligned, Giselle. Donna Bryce is very impressed with the Jamaican women involved in the Pinnacle. Yep, they are. That cannot be understated. I want to get into that, but we only got a few minutes till Jamie hops on here. So yeah, I want to get into that because it's really, really impressive. Callison says, not that being a Jamaican was ever a bad thing, but man, it's great time being a Jamaican. Well said. I think so. Justin D says, wait, comments getting deleted. I don't know about that. I didn't delete any comments. I'm not sure where you're seeing that, Justin. Werner123 says, I also love that high-rise developments are going on in Jamaica, especially the two major cities, Mobay and Kingston. There's a 20-story building. Excuse me. There's a 20-story building being finished up called the Rogers, the development. It's great. K White Enterprise of Florida says, I would like to build homes and sell. Where do you think a good place is to build? I mean, there's just I feel like you got to come down and feel your way around. I don't know your situation in particular, but there's like a lot of hotbeds, if you will. There's also depends on, like, are you trying to get in early, like somewhere like St. Thomas? If we've covered the Suncoast development. What happened? We covered the Suncoast development, which is in St. Thomas, which is the first of that nature. We've been doing some groundbreaking coverage here on the Throb channel, which is it's just so cool. Like, I never thought I'd be doing these things, but here we are. And anyway, or you could go into, like, an existing mature market in a way. What would I say is a mature market in Jamaica? I mean, I guess it depends where. Maybe Kingston and certain parts of Kingston for sure, and then also Montego Bay. Justin, what happened to my join drops Patreon comment? Nope, I didn't see it. I'm not sure. Did not see anything come up. I have no idea. They might have taken it down automatically. All right, we're going to, I see Jamie's in the waiting room area. We're going to actually invite him on in 1 second here. So we're going to get back to the discussion on the Pinnacle a little bit later, and we are going to move into our Dominican Republic, Jamaica discussion now with Jamie Gruber. Jamie, what's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you great. Yep.
Very cool. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. I am so happy, so excited to be doing this. I know we've been talking for the last few weeks about this collaboration, and I mean, I hope and I think it's going to be one of many, because I've explained to everybody in my audience, like, how we actually connected, which was just me scrolling through Instagram, seeing your post about the Dominican Republic, dispelling stereotypes, bringing on the boots on the ground information as to what it is actually like living in the Dominican Republic, investing there. And I was like, man, this guy's doing exactly what I'm doing for Jamaica. And I was like, man, I got to connect with you. And I just thought it would be just so cool for us to trade notes, which we've been doing before we got on this thing, and then also bring that to each of our platforms and each of our forums. So thank you for taking the time, and welcome.
Yeah, man, it's great to be here. I appreciate it. It's a beautiful day here. I guess it is there too, Jamaica?
Yes. This is the beach. I know you said you were at the beach earlier, but this is it's right there. So it's like just to my right here.
Best I could do would be on my stories. I just posted my wife doing kite surfing at the beach. So we ran from there here. So the kids are grabbing lunch downstairs, and then today's a beach hop day. So we've got 3 other beaches we're going to hit today just because. So pardon the dog.
Awesome. So if you wouldn't mind, Jamie, would you just briefly introduce yourself, and then we can just take it from there.
Yeah, my name's Jamie Gruber. So my backstory is I'm married to a Dominican woman. We've been married for 14 years, been together 15, so long time. I was a corporate exec in the States for a company you may have all heard of called Progressive Insurance. Made about $400,000 a year, equity, bonus, corner office, the whole nine. And about 5 years ago, actually more than that, about 7 years ago, when I got that position, the high level position, it corresponded with getting exactly what you want and realizing it's not what fulfills you. So I kind of crashed. 2017, 2018 was a really kind of dark time for me. I was making a great living, healthy, not as dark as maybe obviously it could have been or others have suffered from. But for me, it was just this, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. It was just a terrible couple of years because my whole identity was wrapped up in this gig, right? At this point, I'd been in that company 17 years. And this was the job, man, like do this job through retirement and I was going to be set for life. And then it was like, I just can't make it. But what am I going to do? Wife is a stay-at-home mom, 2 young kids, mortgage, the whole nine. So I started investing in real estate, bought a couple of duplexes in the States. And that was fun. Then I found a partner. We bought some small apartment buildings and started to scale that. That kind of converted to brand led to podcast led to ancillary companies. And long story short, in actually almost 2 weeks from now, in April of 2021, I quit. I left the job. It was sort of wing and a prayer. I had some savings. I had a little bit of side hustle income, but really more of a belief in what could be. And I had this big vision. It was essentially that I wanted to be able to travel with my family anywhere in the world for 3+ months. So that was April of 2021. After about a year of not having a job and realizing we didn't go broke, it was like, maybe we should do this thing we've talked about, like go somewhere. So in August 2022, we decided we were going to move down here to the DR. My two kids, didn't speak Spanish. My wife, this is where she was born, immigrated when she was 12. And we thought, let's go down there. We have, she has uncles, aunts, all of that. We moved down here, and honestly, I fell in love. Like, I've been here a million times, but never to live, right? It was like visit family or go to a resort or whatever. So I just kind of fell in love with the culture, with the people, with the safety. I know that blows people's minds. I know we've had that discussion, like, how safe it was for our kids. There's no school shootings, there's no mass shootings, none of that. You'd definitely have to pick where you live, but still, it's I kind of fell in love. So for years, I've always posted my journey. And this part of the journey, as I was posting, it just sort of took off. A lot of people were really interested in it. So, it's kind of leading to a brand being known as the Gringo. I see Del Fire here says, El Gringo, exactly, the Gringo of the DR. So that's my title.
No, that's awesome. And when you made your final decision to move down to, I was going to say here, but to move down to the DR, what did your friends, your family think about that?
Mixed. So the people that really got it, they understood. Right? Family, you have your wife's family's from there, but like if you just said something to somebody generally, it was like, "Are you sure? Like, it's the third world. What about safety? Your kids, what are you gonna do with your kids down there? There's the education, trafficking, all the things you hear on the news. In fact, if you just Google, maybe it's Jamaica as well. You Google Dominican Republic, it's like the news can't help itself. This lady died on a plane mysteriously coming back from Punta Cana. Well, she had a stroke. Had nothing to do with Dominican, but it has to mention Dominican. The border crisis with Haiti, all these things, it's just so negative. And here I am waking up every day like, I don't know. I see 10 million people visiting, literally. There's blue skies and sunshine. My kids go to a great school. Like, it's a good life. So there was a lot of those that didn't understand were really confused. And I even heard, and this actually drives me a little bit, I even heard some people that I used to work with were like, oh, he must not be doing well. He has to move to the third world. So I got a little bit of that too, which makes me kind of get a little like in me. So yeah.
It's so interesting, and you do a really great job of that. Of just following you on your Instagram is like just bringing people into your world. And I remember you, I think it was last week or the week before, you had to go do a bit of running around, doctor's office, pharmacy, and you're just, and it's just how do people see that and not be I wanted to go there, and I was because everybody runs errands, everybody can relate to that, but you're doing it. I don't know what you were wearing, if you were shorts and a t-shirt or whatever, but you're doing it in this beautiful weather, going from place to place. Everything looks great. Obviously, it's very safe. There were some kids running around, sort of thing. And you're right. And same thing with Jamaica. If you Google Jamaica right now, you're going to see all the negative things are just gonna go to the top, and it makes it seem like this place do not enter, and I commend you on just how well you do. And I think I need to do a better job of this, of just bringing people into your world and your day-to-day life.
Dude, you do an amazing job. Your YouTube, we have for those watching, we envy each other's channels. So I love what he's doing on YouTube. Where are you? You're over there, this side, whatever. I love what he's doing on YouTube, and you've been helping me start to build out my YouTube presence. And you've said I want to get a little bit more intentional on Instagram. So hopefully I'm able to return the favor with this. But yeah, you do a great job. And yes, I also feel a bit of an obligation sometimes to call the BS, right? I did a green screen. So you see an article behind me of that flight that left DR with the lady that passed, and made the point natural causes, terrible story. I'm not stomping on this poor lady's grave at all. It was more hey, this is a terrible story, but it has nothing to do with the fact that she was coming from the Dominican. You could have said from Chicago. It wouldn't say that coming back from Chicago. Sorry, wind blew a door closed. It wouldn't say coming back from Chicago. It wouldn't say coming back from Miami. It had to say from the Dominican Republic, and the implication is exactly that. So So yeah, I do. I do my best to show like, hey, this is real. I'm here. This is walking around my neighborhood because I just think people need to see that and understand it.
Yeah, and you used to me like a key word, like this sense of obligation. And I sometimes wonder what the agenda of these journalists, these news platforms of like putting out stuff like that, because I know exactly what story that you're talking about, because it was all over like CNN, Fox, about this lady that died coming back from the Dominican Republic, and it was like they were trying to position it that it had something to do with her going there, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
of course, like, and if I didn't look into it, like I would have thought that automatically with the headlines. And again, a lot of that can be said about Jamaica as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I'm seeing this over here. Even as a Dominican, it's a hard decision, and the gringo did it all. 1, 2, 3. I think they mean DD champs here. I think he means moving down here. I want to be clear. It wasn't like that easy. It wasn't like, screw it, let's go. There was a lot of buildup, but the decision really was made when it was like doing step one. I remember booking the flights for August 23rd. I don't know why that date. I just looked on a calendar, said Tuesday, August 23rd, and booked flights. And then it was like, wow, okay, I guess we're going to go. I guess we're going to fly down there, and then let's find a house and so on and so forth. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to point out that that comment. Not that easy, but it's been very, very well worth it.
Yeah, and I want to get into your YouTube channel and definitely like your latest YouTube video, which I just posted in the comments. But before we get there, and I want to just kind of, because I can relate to what you're doing, right? And so one of the things that you told me before is that there are a lot of people, are Dominicans who are living in, say, New York or in the United States, and they say like, it is so dangerous in the Dominican Republic. I would never move there. If you go there, it's crazy. Jamaica, same thing. They're Jamaicans who are living abroad, and they said the crime is out of control. I don't know if they think it's a war zone out here, but like you can tell from out here, it doesn't really look like a war zone to me. But if you listen to like the headlines and you listen to those people, you'll never make that move. And then you said, wait, how can the person who is living in the New York or Florida or wherever it is say that it's so terrible there, but you're doing it from the perch of wherever it is that you're calling home at this time? And like all I'm saying, like, and like my perspective is from the Jamaican perspective, the juxtaposition Jamaican perspective is that is just consider moving here, consider investing in here, and I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not even trying to change your opinion, honestly. But if you are going to be saying something that's factually incorrect, I probably will call you out on that. And then also using myself as an example. So long story short, my question to you is, can you walk us through and share a little bit about like what your lifestyle and life is like in the Dominican Republic? Like you have your wife, you have your 2 kids, obviously your career down there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, this might sound really, really nuts to anybody living in the U.S. So I'll try to relate it. But wake up around 6:37. We get the kids ready for school. We drop them off at school. We go to the gym. So the gym is about 15-minute drive away. I'm being facetious if you couldn't tell. Like it's very, very similar. I like go to the gym. My wife and I do the gym from 8:30 to 9:30. I come home and I start my day around 10. Some days go later, some days a little earlier. But my day, so my core business is a podcaster. So I'm creating content. I'm interviewing people for the podcast. I'm researching people for the podcast. We have associated businesses with that, like a production company, a membership community, an event company. So I work in all of those without getting into the nitty gritty on a day-to-day basis. Depending on the day, around my wife goes and gets the kids around 2:30. Around 5 o'clock, I try to end my day. And then, yeah, it's dinner with the family. We do something before bedtime, watch TV, play a game, whatever. And then bedtime's around 7:30, 8 o'clock with the kids. So it's very standard. The weekends we devote to like going to the beach, running errands, whatever that needs to be done. Sometimes we go to see her family, which is about an hour away in a city called Higüey, which is what, to your point, those folks in the States that say that will be what they call the real Dominican. I don't know if you get the bubble. Do you get you're in the Negril bubble? Do you ever hear that?
All the time, yes.
Yeah, I get you're in the Punta Cana bubble. Here's my question for anybody that says that. Like, who doesn't live in a bubble? Like, really, who doesn't live in a bubble? Even if you are in especially those following you or following me, you're probably not, in the ghetto, roughing it. You probably have some middle class or better lifestyle in the States or wherever you might be. When I lived in Michigan, we lived in a little cul-de-sac community. That was a bubble. We lived in a bubble. Detroit was 45 minutes away. We were in our bubble, So I don't quite understand that. But yeah, like life is fairly normal compared to what we did in the United States. Actually, it's very normal. If anything, we get bored doing the same things over and over again. Wednesday night is date night. My wife and I do a date night every Wednesday night. The big difference is here for us, and I think it's probably the same in Jamaica, is the cost of labor. So we have two cleaning ladies, one that's Monday through Friday, one that's Saturday, Sunday. We pay them a little bit above what others pay. In fact, we get vilified. You can't win either way. You're paying people only this much a month. That's terrible. It's like slave labor. You're overpaying them and you're resetting the market. I hear it both ways, but either way, these two ladies take care of our laundry, our cleaning, our cooking, which is a major, major stress reducer. And as an entrepreneur, it allows me to really focus in on what I do on a daily basis. That's why I can go a little later to start my morning, because I'm not having to worry about chores around the house. But that's the general gist of it. It's very, very, quote unquote, normal or similar to what you do in the United States. The differences are better weather and a little bit more of a chill culture, which I think is very similar in Jamaica, I would assume.
No, I love it. And thank you for like explaining and breaking that down. And I've started moving into I would say in the last 6 months or so, like moving into like starting my days later.
Yeah.
Because I guess because you can, right? But like, and if you
Yeah.
like, if I was in New York, I would be up at like five, like super early, like everybody else, and getting the daily grind started. But then, like you said, you can. No, I don't. I live by myself, like bachelor life, right? So, but you can have the help to whether it's a babysitter or help around the house,
Yeah.
and it's just more affordable. And you're right, you hear it on both of just like raising the market rates by overpaying or you're underpaying, like, so you just can't win. But the market is the market in that sense, and it sounds like you have a great lifestyle down there. um with the lifestyle, do you are you like are you going to I know you're in real estate, right?
Yeah.
And I want to talk about and we just got off of, I just made a presentation, our premiere of a real estate video that I did a couple of weeks ago. And I want to talk about like investment opportunities in the Dominican Republic. And especially from the perspective of the naysayers who's like, I would never invest in the Dominican Republic. What is the landscape of investing in real estate or investment in general in the Dominican Republic from your
Yeah.
perspective?
If I could, I see a comment from Sweet Feather. The experience is going to be different being a different ethnicity. Like you live differently than your cleaning ladies and single people, respectfully. That's not untrue. Of course, I live differently than cleaning ladies. But my neighbors, the people say, "Oh, you're in this bubble in Punta Cana, whatever." My neighbors are Dominican. They all are. The ones that own these big, beautiful homes around me that make more than I do, they're Dominican. My wife is Dominican. So I don't go with different ethnicity. I think it's just different socioeconomic background. I made a good living in the States and I'm able to apply it here. The guy that owns the house we live in never left the Dominican. I don't know if he's ever left the Dominican. And he does really well owning a business down here. Dominican guy, Dominican kids, going to private school, the whole nine. So I don't, the only reason I make that point is not to challenge the individual that said it, but like to your point about investing down here and moving down here, there's not an influx of like colonizers coming down here to take over the Dominican Republic. Most of the people moving down here are Dominican. If they look like me and they're American, they're an accessory to a Dominican, meaning like they're the spouse, child, whatever of a Dominican individual. So you're right. I say this to everybody, like cleaning ladies aren't watching my content. That's not who's watching me. They don't speak English. They're lower on the socioeconomic ladder. So I don't ever feel the need to speak to the fact and acknowledge, which I do, that there are people here that live on $500 or $600 US a month. 100%. I get it. But that's not my audience. That's just not, if that was my audience, I'd have a different message. But my message is for those that are mostly Dominican, living in the States or Canada or Europe and saying, I think I might want to move back there, or those that are considering DR as a place to invest. So I wanted to make that point. I always like to make that point on a comment
Sorry,
like that. But
before you move in, like I want to also hop in on that.
hit
And
it.
So we just did I premiered a video of this new new luxury residential development. It's going to be the tallest buildings in all of the Caribbean,
Yeah.
428-story towers. And the same thing, it's just like, oh, this is not for the average Jamaican, which it's not. And then you also get a comment is just like, it's all these foreigners coming in from, and I've covered many developments. What you'll find is it's mostly Jamaicans who are owning these things. And I think there's a disbelief, and I don't know, and people can say what they want. And I don't know if this is really coming from people who are living in the Jamaicans who are living in the diaspora, but there is like a belief that Jamaicans in Jamaica don't have money. Like, at least that's what I feel. I don't have any quantitative evidence to prove that, but I know of through a degree or two of separation. Like, I know of a Jamaican who bought a penthouse at this property, and this thing is like $5-6 million. And they bought the penthouse, and it's a Jamaican who lives here and makes his living here. And I think that people have to realize, again, there is great opportunities in our respective countries. And then before
quick. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue. We might have to. I might have a little bit more on that, but go for it.
No, go ahead.
Oh, all right. Well, real quick. On the point of my brain just went blank as soon as I was like, oh, you go ahead, whatever. But on the point of Jamaicans buying property in Jamaica. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The narrative, I don't know if you get this as well, is maybe you see this, like, my poor Jamaica, the white people moving in there are going to take it over, or the colonizers, or whatever it is, just like Puerto Rico, just like Hawaii. Do you get that, or is that just a Dominican thing?
I feel like it's that seems like Dominican. Like, right now, I would say, if anything, the narrative, it's more so the Chinese taking over. And like, granted, this is a Chinese development that is happening. That is, again, mostly being, I think, a lot of being brought up by Jamaicans, but it's more so Chinese, not necessarily white colonists.
Got it. Yeah, so I was going to say, I think for those afraid of like the U.S. moving in, it's like, well, Jamaica or Puerto Rico and Hawaii are still U.S. territories. Most Americans don't leave the United States if they're just solely American. They have the background of being Dominican, Jamaican, or whatever it might be. But as far as investing down here, so it's really interesting. The big question is there too much development for the demand? Like, there's so much development happening. I think it's the same in the Grill, right? You have so much development, so many units coming online, so many buildings. It's like, can it possibly keep pace with demand? And I don't know the dynamics there as much, but I could say here that one, so far, yes. And it seems like the amount of units that are still to be built have enough demand behind it. People are buying them as vacation homes, Airbnb, this, that, and the other. There's a lot of movement in country. So Santo Domingo is the capital, kind of like Kingston. It's like 3 hours away. They're building a train right now that will actually make that a 57-minute train trip from Santo Domingo to Punta Cana. So there's a lot of Santo Domingo people moving here. There's a lot of movement from Santo Domingo here also because of businesses having like a second office from the capital now in Punta Cana with the growth that we've had here. So a lot of the people that I meet here are moving from there. We also have a lot of South American movement. So it's less US, it's more Venezuelan, Colombian, there's Chilean, Argentinian. Like, I meet a lot of people from South America that are coming here. So the demand is so far outpacing the supply. Does it mean it'll last forever? No. But if you look historically at projects here, like one big one here is called Cap Cana. So Cap Cana is a beautiful stretch of land. It's about two times the size of Manhattan, right on the beach, beautiful, beautiful coastline. And in '08, that project actually went bankrupt. So everybody talks about Cap Cana, even me to some extent, like, I don't know if I trust it. They're building so many things there. Can it sustain this, that, and the other? But here's what's true. If you bought a unit in '06, today, it's worth 2 to 3 times more, even though it went through a bankruptcy, even though there's a ton of development, even though there's so much happening there. So one, I believe that there's tons of runway in Punta Cana, tons of runway around the Dominican, Las Terrenas on the North Shore, Cabarete still doing well, Santo Domingo's growing. There's plenty of opportunity. Miches, which is just north of Punta Cana, will probably be like a bit of a sprawl. What do they call it? Like, as Punta Cana grows, it'll grow up into Miches. So tons of opportunity there. And then you were asking, was it specifically on like the types of investments, or I'm sorry, Trop, I might have gotten a little long on my answer.
Generally, just investment opportunities.
Yeah. So I always say this: there's pre-construction, there's like development. There's land that you own and develop on your own, and then there's in place, like already built that you can buy or like resale. And I think the risk assessment goes from the highest being pre-construction. If like, hey, Noval or whomever announces a big project and you're going to get in early before it's even built and put your money down. And I think that's the highest risk that you can invest in any place. Next is you have your own piece of land somewhere and you're going to hire a contractor to build it for you. And then I think the least risky is buying something that's already built. That said, the pre-construction stuff right now, there's so much of it. There's so much really good quality stuff. And I see a ton of opportunity and growth already in some of the more premier communities that are being built. So if you wanted like an inside tip, in this area, in Punta Cana, this area specifically, Vista Cana is a community and a development that's going to probably end up having 20,000 units after it's all complete and done. But already it's becoming a hub for future residential use, not just Airbnb and vacation, but future residential. A really good school that's in Santo Domingo is opening a second branch of it inside of Vista Cana. Right now, you can buy a pre-construction 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment for probably around 120,000 US, all the way up on the high end for like a 3-bed or 4-bed villa or house. It's probably in the 400,000 range, 300,000 to 400,000 US range. That's gone up in the last year. It was probably more like 75 on the low, 250 on the high, and it's kind of ticked up as the last year or two have gone. But then you've got, like Nick Grill, I'm sure you've got a range. So I always look at it like if you're looking at like south to north, like Cap Cana is $500,000 to get in at least, and that's going to be more retirement or empty nesters. Punta Cana Village, Punta Cana Resorts, just north of that, that's 700,000 or more to get in, and it's probably more for families with money. And then you get into Vista Cana, which is more affordable for families. Then you get further north into like a Cortecito, and that's going to be like $150,000 to $200,000 for a 2 or 3 bedroom condo. And it's more singles or young couples, that kind of thing, where it's a little bit more of a nightlife energy. But generally, you can buy I would say if you're under 100,000 pre-construction, you should start to question where that's being built. Is it really Punta Cana, or is it getting into some of the more like what people call real Dominican neighborhoods that are adjacent to Punta Cana? And on the high end right now, it can go up and up. But if you're in that 300,000 to 400,000 range, you should be able to get a really nice 3 to 4 bedroom home pre-construction here right now.
Wow, that's great. Like really, really, really great. Great information. Darnell, I see your question. We're going to get to it in a second. Sorry for taking so long. Yeah, I think that is really good inside information. And I always tell the community here, it's like when, we're living in such a global time, and you should feel as if you can invest and put your money anywhere, particularly if you want to get into real estate. And it's so important, I think, to do your due diligence and to consider different markets. And I would encourage people here to look into the Dominican Republic. And my friend, so I'll give you an example, like the picture for this thumbnail. I went to one of my best friend's weddings, and the villa, we got a couple of villas there. It was in Punta Cana. We stayed on on a golf course. That's where the villa was. Beautiful. And he's now building a villa here in the Grill, and the inspiration came from the villas that were in this one. I think it was called the villa was called the Waterfall. That was the name of it, and got an inspiration from the waterfall, like these gorgeous villas, and even like the architecture in the Dominican Republic in general is like very, 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 very inspiring. So even like I believe he was even considering investing in the Dominican Republic as well. So I think it's important to compare apples to apples, and then also just not being, hey, if you want to move to Jamaica, move to Jamaica. But I think open up the blinders a little bit and consider other markets. And
Agreed.
And that's to say, this is like, I'm not telling you have to and you should you got to move to Jamaica. You got to invest. Like, I'm not saying that at all. I'm presenting information, just like you're presenting information, and very inside information, which I definitely highly appreciate.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. What was the question? Yeah, there was a question that popped up. By the way, somebody saying about Higüey. Yes, the rent is cheaper, but you're getting inland, much higher crime, and you're not near a beach. So again, you get what you pay for.
So he says, yeah, great content has always throbbed, and the architect was beautiful too. I'm excited for this collaboration. I know very little about the DR. Do you need to be bilingual to be successful?
No, that's a good question. Much of the DR, the developed parts, are bilingual. People talking about, we were talking about the lower in. Oh,
sorry, Jamie, you're breaking up a little bit. It's cutting in and out. I don't know if you
oh
can make
boy.
any adjustments.
Let me see here.
And you're freezing a little bit. Yeah.
Let me do something. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to see if I can get stronger connection. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, it's just cutting out a little bit, and you're frozen.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
I think it's the beauty of live, right?
Yeah.
All right. Is this any better right here?
Yes, we can see you. You look.
Cool. You can see me. I look okay.
Yes. Froze up a little bit again.
Let me try something here. Let me go out here. I don't know why. I have full Wi-Fi, so I don't know what's going on. But let me go over here and try this. This any better?
Still breaking up, still freezing a little bit, but I think we can hear you okay, so we can give it a shot.
Okay, I'm here. I think I'm right next to the thing. Is it okay right now? Clean and clear?
Yeah, we can work with it. Yep, there you go.
Okay. AP said it's good. Harold said it's not freezing. You're good. DD Champ said clean and clear. So hopefully I'm good. We were talking about the question about DR about, do you need to be bilingual? Do you need to be bilingual? No, you don't need to be bilingual. There is a lot of, in the developed areas, again, not where the cleaning ladies, the lower income folks are, like that's all Spanish for sure. But in Punta Cana, like the more developed parts of Santo Domingo, Cabarete, like the spots where you would go, where you'd want to go, Santiago. Yeah, I mean, like I barely speak Spanish. Like I always say I'm situationally good with Spanish. Like I know how to go to a restaurant. If you saw me at a restaurant, you would think I know how to speak complete Spanish. I know how to order food, drinks. I know the cadence. I know the whole thing. I had to call for the check, the whole nine. So I had that Spanish down. But other than that, no, I don't speak it. I went to that doctor's appointment. All the doctors speak both languages. In fact, it's sort of like I actually don't like it now. Like I want to be forced to learn Spanish more than I have. Like I'm just not forced to because most of my day I'm doing things in English. But yeah, it's one of those things where you can get away without being bilingual here. And honestly, like again, if you're at a point where you'd move down to a DR and your kids would go to a school here, a private school, it would be mostly English speaking because most people here want their kids to learn English. So like that's actually for us, we want our kids to get more Spanish, right? So like we're actually, it's a frustration for us more than anything, but there's that. So no, you don't need to know English or Spanish to be successful, but it helps for sure.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Everybody's saying it's my Wi-Fi because everybody's hearing you clearly. Sorry to make you.
No, you're good, man. You're good. You're good. What's up, buddy? You got your finger? You hurt your finger? My little guy came over. Oh, sorry. He's got his finger in a bucket of ice. So I saw up here, travel to the Campos. You'll love it. Yeah, we go a lot. My wife's family lives in that, and we've gone around the country. So Campos are like the sticks. Go to the sticks. Like go to the where the camping and all of that is really cool. So.
Okay, nice. I want to hop into. Let me see if I'm going to post it again. So I'm posting your channel here, so everybody to check out. Yeah, absolutely. At the Jamie Gruber here on YouTube, and you posted. Let me post this video as well. Your last video, entitled "The U.S. is more dangerous than the DR," and
good title, right?
started playing it accidentally. And yeah, great title. You hit on some really, really awesome points. And yeah, if you can just go into it and I'll chime in on the Jamaica side.
Yeah, so I actually was just looking it up to see if I can get a sense of yeah. So the impetus for that, and if you look at the video, I kind of go through all these different crime rates, right? And so the objective for me was to sort of like paint the picture of how crazy it is, how ridiculous it is to just like broad brush say Dominican Republic is high crime and you shouldn't go there. So what I did in that is I pointed out, what the crime statistics are here versus the US, and they're higher. And I went with violent crime because I think it's what people fear most, right? Like when you think of crime, it's like, if I leave the resort, some guy with a machete is going to chop my arm off. Like that's, I think, what people imagine when they hear about, oh, don't leave the resort, which I don't know about down there, but I think it's the same thing. It's like the resorts don't want you to leave the resorts. That narrative is amazing for the resorts because you're going to spend money on the resort. You're going to pay them to leave the resort, right? Like that's, but anyway. So the crime rate in the Dominican Republic, violent crime, like murder rate, is 11 per 100,000 residents. In the United States, it's 6. So it's like, well, how is that safer? Well, here's how. So Santo Domingo is the capital, and it's half the population here. About 10, 11 million people, half of it's Santo Domingo. Their crime rate, murder rate, is about 23 per 100,000. Oh, Throp froze. Is that me? Anybody in the chat? Can you hear me still? Can you hear me, guys? Let me know. Am I frozen or is that Throp? Anybody?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, switch Wi-Fi. Sorry. Keep going.
You got it? Okay, cool. So you got, okay, go, thank you. And I want to hear about Jamaica too, for the people that are here for DR. But the crime rate in Santo Domingo, the murder rate is 23 per 100,000. So more there, obviously, than the country at large, but it's half the population. So first thing is like, well, if it's 11 per 100,000 in the country and 23 per 100,000 in Santo Domingo, well, don't you think then the rest of the country is much, much lower? Now you go to the United States, there are cities like New Orleans that's at 70 per 100,000. Memphis is at 63 per 100,000. Port-au-Prince is lower. Port-au-Prince, Haiti, is at like 54. Now, I would ask anybody here, would you say, oh my God, I would never go to New Orleans, or I would never go to Memphis? Like, that's insane. Like that, it's like, who would ever go there? That's crazy, like crime. No, because it's concentrated in areas. Chicago is like 43. What was the other one? Oh, Detroit was like 48, right? Like these are in the range of Port-au-Prince from a violent crime rate, right? So it's like, when you look at the country at large, Dominican Republic is driven by one city, which has half the population, driving the crime higher, but it's still less than half that of New Orleans or Memphis. So that to me means that if I were willing to go to New Orleans or Memphis, knowing that, yes, there's crime there, but you just stay away from those neighborhoods, wouldn't it then be the same if you go to Santo Domingo to say, well, it's half the crime rate? One, it's safer overall. And two,
Just my fingers.
okay. And two, you know that it's concentrated in certain neighborhoods. And then people get a little nutty. Like somebody said, but Santo Domingo, my friend got mugged there in Zona Colonial, which is like a really cool, like colonial part of the city. And she said, I've never forget this. She said, you really have to be careful. I'm going to do this like finger by finger. You have to be careful walking around at night alone. That was her logic for why Santo Domingo was more dangerous. Like, I would have to be really careful walking around at night alone in my beautiful neighborhood in Michigan, right? Like that's just globally good advice. Be careful walking around at home or alone at night, right? So it's like that. Like, how do we create a narrative the country's more dangerous? So anyway, so those cities are more dangerous. Why is the U.S.'s crime rate lower? The two biggies, New York and L.A., are at 5.5 and 9. So while Santo Domingo, the one city's dragging up the crime rate to 11 in the country because it's at 23 per 100,000. Again, you take it out, what is the rest of the country? It's much lower. The US has the benefit of two big cities driving it down, but there are 20 other cities that have a higher crime rate than the main city here in Santo Domingo. And again, Port-au-Prince, Haiti, we all know what's happening in Haiti, has a lower crime rate, violent crime rate than 3 or 4 US cities. So it's just trying to draw the distinction. Like, you would go to any one of the cities that I tell you in the US have a high crime rate, have a high violent crime rate. You go to any of them because you understand that is concentrated. Santo Domingo's the same. Kingston's the same. Negril is the same. Wherever you're going to go, you got to go to the spot. You have to understand where the spots are you don't want to go. One more thing. I'm sorry I'm on a rant here, but people say to me like, oh, see, you're like, you're a gringo. You don't know the DR. Let me take you to my old neighborhood in Santo Domingo. Why? To confirm that I know it's already dangerous? Like, that would be like saying, you don't know the US. Let me take you to my neighborhood on the west side of Detroit. I'm like, why? I know it's bad. I wouldn't go there. It's silly to go there. So it's the same distinction I make for those that say it's unsafe to travel. So the video was really meant to show that. But then to cap it off, can I tease? I'll tease. there was one stat that the US is absolutely failing at. That stat is not available in the Dominican. That's how crazy safe it is in DR. Like this stat isn't even on the radar. That is at a high level. A stat in the US that scares the hell out of me, not even on the radar in the Dominican Republic or Jamaica. I guarantee it. So that's why I say it happens.
Nope. Great points. I would say here in Jamaica crimes, and this is just really unfortunate, is that it's usually it's first and foremost, majority of the time it's not random, and then
It's domestic.
two, it's always domestic. It's like within families, or there is some sort of gang violence. One thing that we have a big problem here, and I don't know if you have an equivalent in DR, is scamming. So Jamaica is known as almost the Nigeria of the West in terms of
Wow.
doing, I mean, all sorts of digital scams. Calling people on their phone, telling people that they've won the lottery, credit card scamming, that sort of thing. So with illegal economic activity comes violence, and then and just comes all sorts of different things, as you can imagine. And unfortunately, a lot of that violence stems from that type of criminality. And then yes, going into interfamily problems and interfamily. Just I always say this, like a lot of times Jamaicans don't have like a de-escalation button. It's just 0 to 100, and just like some people they just react very very emotionally. Even here, running my business, especially with the young, working with young guys, and it's just coaching them to like control their emotions and to just a little bit of anger management, if you will. And so anyway, we have that. That's, I would say, is the majority of our issues. So walking down the beach, even like I've been working late a few nights here, and I'm not saying to do this, but like I've been driving home and I've been seeing people obviously very obvious to me that they are tourists, walking home to their hotel from the club by themselves. Not the smartest thing to do, and I wouldn't even recommend that. Matter of fact, I don't recommend doing that. But it's just not part of like, again, I'm only speaking for Negril. It's not part of like living here. Like we don't, and knock on wood, we don't have a problem where like people are getting robbed left, right, and center. I would say Negril is a very safe place. Before I was injured and I was doing my early morning runs or my bike rides, it's pitch black out here. I'm riding up and down, riding around the West End. I feel perfectly safe. I feel perfectly safe, but of course, anything can happen at any time, but it's not what it is sensationalized to be on the news, where it's like this war zone. Recently, we were increased from, I think, level 2 to level 3 for US travel warning, and just completely out the blue. And we're still at that status right now, and we just, as a country, we don't understand it. We don't understand why we were put in it says I'm breaking up. Hold on one second, let me switch Wi-Fi's.
Yeah, go ahead. It's a little choppy, but I got most of it.
Yeah, so let me switch Wi-Fi, but I'll kick it over to you, Jamie, and even if I disappear, you can keep talking, so I'll hop right back on.
Sure. So yeah, to that point, I love the point, because same thing where I live, it's very safe. You can, on Instagram, you can see that video of me walking around my neighborhood. Granted, it's during the day, but still, I'm a foreign guy who doesn't speak the language walking around my neighborhood, and doing so in broad daylight by myself and going all over the place. So I think for a lot of people that are like, there's like two different types of people I feel like that follow it. I don't know anybody that wants to drop a comment, but there's some that are like, wow, yeah, this makes all the sense in the world to me. And they're just kind of focused in on their own little world. And that's the ones that I think are the better ones to follow this content. Meaning it's like, okay, I know that there's all this crazy, there's crime, there's poverty, there's all the things we talk about. But for me right now, like, I'm just worried about me. Like, I make 80, 90, 100 grand a year in the States. I could work remotely. And so I want to move back to Jamaica, where my family's from, or back to DR, where my family's from. But then there's the other side, where kind of sit back with their arms folded, like, yeah, but there's other people struggling. And it's like, again, I get it. But if you're here, that's probably not you. So in the States, in Jamaica, in Dominican Republic, the crime, the issues, the accelerated, anger, all of those domestic issues, they're more common in your lower socioeconomic neighborhoods, for sure. So if your idea, and I say this to people all the time, I don't know if it's the same in Jamaica, but there's people that always say like, oh, I can live in DR for $1,000 a month. I'm like, yes. However, where you're going to live for $1,000 a month scares me a little bit. All right. Especially if it's a family of 4, family of 5, family of 3, something like that. Like, I don't think that's a good idea to look for the place to live for $1,000 a month. Not now, not in this era, not in this world, not in this inflationary environment. You're going to spend a few grand a month to live comfortably. And again, $1,000 a month, maybe you can duck and cover and never leave your house, but you want to live a little bit. So my point is, don't move here or there or anywhere to live in a dangerous neighborhood. Okay, just don't move to live in a dangerous neighborhood, and you're going to be fine. The crime here is, opportunistic for sure. If you're in like when we go to the Igwe, like I make sure there's my phone's in my pocket, not in my hand. A little motorbike could come by and snatch it and that sort of thing. So it's opportunistic crime. Scamming happens in the development world, which is why I say it's the highest risk. So there are developers that are unscrupulous, and they take $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 from an investor, and then the project never gets done. And there's not the same sort of like SEC level oversight here. Maybe there is in Jamaica as there is in the United States. So from a recourse standpoint, even in the US, you're probably a bit screwed, but you're more screwed here. And those stories become the narrative for investing in the Dominican Republic, right? Like, oh, these developers take your money and run. It's like, it has happened, but there's ways to protect yourself. You can vet developers very, very easily, in my opinion. So that's to me where the crime is more. So domestic, lower socioeconomic neighborhoods for sure is like 85% of it, maybe more, right? It's most of it. Like it's there. And again, I wouldn't want to go there, and I can acknowledge and understand that exists here. People pointed out to me, and it's like, I don't know why. Like, I know that's not my life. I was born where I was. I can't control that. I was born. I was lucky to have all my limbs and my faculties, and I made something of my life, and I'm living my life, right? And there's a lot of people that can resonate with that. And I feel terrible for, say, a Haitian that's a kid in Haiti, just birth lottery, right? Just born in Haiti with all the terrible things going on there. I can feel that, and I can live this life and not feel guilty about that. And I think for people watching this and people considering this, you're not going to move into a high crime neighborhood likely. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't suggest doing that. So you can kind of remove that from the narrative and understand that the crime is concentrated. It's not everywhere.
Yeah, and that's what I tell people here, when they're considering moving to Jamaica. Like, the first thing I tell them is, like, when they ask me where, it's just like, come here, if you can spend a month, a few weeks down here, travel around the island. And then the second thing is live in a gated community, like, period. And, my dad pointed this out to me, where you had, you hear about, like, Jamaicans who are part of the diaspora. Maybe they've had, a long career in America or Canada or whatever it is. And they come back to Jamaica, after they've done well, they've made their money, and they move back into their old neighborhood where they have their same neighbor and the same people who have not moved up in life. They just stayed there for the last 20 years in which you build your career, and you come there and you build a mansion in the ghetto, where you come from. And it's just like, you can't do that. And it's Jamaica, your neighborhood is not the same place it was when you used to live here. And then 2, the people there are the same, and you have changed, you have grown, you have matured financially and otherwise. You no longer fit. And you probably have these nostalgic memories of what it was like growing up there and your childhood and everything like that, which I get, but just highly recommend you go into a gated community, especially if you've done well and you can afford it.
Yeah, 100%. It's that's a really, really good point. It's even true if you think about your own upbringing. Like, how many of you or how many of us have gone back to our town where we grew up, and you go to the high school reunion or whatever, and things are just kind of frozen in place, right? Like, you wouldn't move back there probably if you've had some level of success. If you've gotten out, you were in small town, whatever, and moved to the city and made a life for yourself. So that's a great, great point. Yeah, like to build the McMansion in the old neighborhood is, you've grown too much for that. So for sure.
All right, I got a couple of questions here from the audience.
Sure.
Zoe Simpson asks, as a person of color, I found racism in DR. What's your take?
Yeah. I mean, sure. There's a history here, and again, look, this is where, for me, not being Dominican, I don't want to, be the expert on this, but I learned all of this. So Trujillo was a brutal dictator from the mid 1950s or whatever, and it was a very racist dictator. His whole thing was clearing out dark skinned people, right? Like he was cleansing, ethnically cleansing the country. So there's definitely a history of that here. Have I experienced it personally? No. Do other people I know here that are white Americans experience it? Yes. Especially a friend of mine that works in a really tough neighborhood. Some stores kick them out, right? They just don't want them there. They don't want the white guy in there. But like, it's not a feature day to day. It's not something that pops up. It's not something that I deal with. There's an underlying, I guess there's a race dynamic, Dominican to Haiti. There's another question on Haiti, I know. So for sure, Haitians are definitely like arm's length for Dominicans, for many Dominicans, right? Like I've even heard somebody say, a Dominican person, like we're kind of groomed to not trust Haitians. Like we grow up not trusting Haitians. And again, there's a very clear racial line there. So yeah, but for me personally, what I observe, no, in fact, it's funny, to be honest with you, there's almost like if I go into a store, I'm probably left alone more than, say, my wife, who is Dominican, right?
Oh, wow.
Or if I'm going to get into a gated community with my ID badge or whatever, that kind of gets me in, but it doesn't. Like I'm more likely to get in than my wife, who is Dominican. So if anything, there's that kind of racism, like, to themselves or whatever, within the country, like the white American or the white Canadian gets more privilege or more access sometimes, which makes me feel, yeah. I remember when we lived in one community, we would leave and they would always open the trunk of everybody leaving through the security. Like when you go to the security, they open the trunk, look inside, and then leave. Same thing in Jamaica, I assume?
Yes.
They don't always do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
They would do it for my wife, though, every time, So kind of icky, but I see that for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I got a question from Clarity Media. What about an American qualifying for construction loan to build in Punta Cana? What's the process?
This is a great question. I actually wouldn't mind bantering this with you because I wonder how similar it is for in Jamaica, Throp. So say you have a development down here, Paul is building or whomever, and I'm sorry, is there any wind noise or am I good?
No, I can hear you fine.
Okay, cool. Just a little breeze went by. Sometimes I wonder if it's getting in there. But so you find a property you want to build, or you're going to buy pre-construction from a developer. Typically, the way it works here is, no matter who you are, American or not, is you're going to put up front. You'll see it like, oh, for $5,000 you can reserve a 1-bed condo or 2-bed condo. Yeah, for about 15 days or 30 days. So you put $5,000 down to reserve it. The contract gets signed, and once the contract's executed within the first 30 days or so, a bit of window. I'll go into this. Once the contract is signed, then you have to put down 20% at that point. So 20% of your I'll go here, so I'll not the kids. 20% of the total purchase price. So let's say it's a $100,000 property. Within 30 days of reserving it, you're going to put $20,000 US down. Then you're going to pay in increments. I'll get lights on here. You're going to pay in increments another 30% over the course of the construction. So if you got 2 years of construction time before your unit is delivered to you, another 30%. Or 30,000 in this case, if it's a $100,000 property, will be paid in by breaking it into monthly increments. So whatever 30,000 divided by 24 is, you'll pay that monthly until it's delivered. So by the time you get your unit delivered to you, it is technically 50% paid off, maybe a little bit more if the value went up, right? So that's how it works up. Then the other 50%, once your unit's delivered, you can go to the bank here and get a loan. It takes about 60 days to close. Scotiabank is one, Banco Popular. There's banks, if you're a US citizen or not, I just opened a bank account with my passport, and a few other documents. They want a lot of stuff. It was a process, but you can get a loan here for the other 50%, or you can pay off the other 50% cash. If you had $50,000 left, you could pay that off. But that's kind of the process of it. You can't get a bank loan if it's pre-construction. You can only get a bank loan once it's complete. So I don't know if that's the same in Jamaica, or at least I shouldn't say it that way because there's always exceptions. Generally speaking, you can't get a bank loan pre-construction. You can get it when it's complete, but there are smaller like credit unions that do allow for lower loan to value and this, that, and the other. So there may be some programs that do let you, but generally speaking, you got to work with the developer to pay that first 50%, 20% down, 30% over the course of the build, and then the other 50% is due either with a bank loan or cash at the end. Same in Jamaica?
Interesting. Some similarities, some differences. So Jamaica is very, I would say, pro foreign direct investment. The only thing that you need that's required is what is called a TRN, or a tax registration number, which is similar to your to a social security number, and that basically that's your number that will track whatever taxes that you owe. As far as financing goes, here you can get up to 95% financing from the bank, and you
Wow.
can, yeah, you can put down almost nothing, for you to get a loan. I'm almost certain, I never even thought of like, hey, can you do pre-construction loans? Like, yeah, I think you definitely can here, because like even with all these developments that I'm going to, like all of these banks are here, like all of them want you, all of them are trying to get you in. What are your loan rates like in DR?
So if you're doing it in US dollars, it's probably between, I'll say 7. That might be like, you got to really find that 7 and 9.5%. If you're in Dominican pesos, it's more like 10 to whatever, but let's say 10 to 13% or so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's typically what I see for interest rates.
Okay, yeah, it's the same. You might, if you find 6, that'll be crazy. If you're getting a US dollar loan here, yeah, it's kind of around the same price. And like my friends back home, they're like talking about like, nobody's selling their house right now because, the situation there, and they're looking at the rates, the US interest rates is high. I'm like, no, that's great for us down here, sort of thing.
It's true. There was something else I was going to ask. So you can get 95% loan to value. God, what was I going to ask you? 95% loan to value on a pre-construction property, and I'll think of it. I whatever you wanted to talk about, we can do that. But that's incredible. So 95% loan to value to buy I was going to ask, what's the amortization, and is there a term? Like, is it due in, like, does it become variable at any point, like the interest rate?
Yes, it is. It is like it is variable. Then that's the thing that sucks. Like, so I can't remember the exact number. My brother bought a 1-bedroom a few years ago, like right when COVID started. I forget what the interest rate was, but him and then also my friend, he bought a 3-bedroom home, and their interest rates just went up. And like it just changed their, like, what they were paying out, like in a significant way on a monthly basis. Like they had to move things around in their lives. So that is a risk. 30 years is what they got it at. Yeah. But yeah, it's variable. So
here is more 25, and it's variable after either like 1, 3, or 5 years. Like you could sort of like, if you put a little bit more down, then I don't know, but yeah, you can get different terms. But most people here pay their house off in 5 years. Like that's the goal. Like you might get a 25-year amortization, but they go aggressive paying off the house in 5 years. I should say most, but like that's I hear that from a lot of people. Like, oh, I got my loan, but I'm paying it off before the variable rate expires. So yeah, it like 5, maybe 10 years max, they're paying it off aggressively.
Interesting. Okay, let's thank you for that. Let's get to another question here.
Question about taxes there. Oh, this one's a good one.
Corey MPAS, question for Jamie. What's the feel regarding Haitian border / migrant influx?
This is so interesting. Nothing. And in fact, I'm if you're not already, if you're moving here, or you live here, or if you're here for a week, same in Jamaica, and you're American, you should go on the State Department site and register, because you'll get all the notifications of anything that's happening. So like, hey, there's a rally happening in Santo Domingo, which is 3 hours away. Like, I wouldn't go to this street, between this street and this street. Like, you get all these notifications on the littlest, simplest things. I've got nothing from the State Department on Haiti in the Dominican Republic. In fact, it's a really interesting, and again, there's a lot of feelings on this, but the border posture by the Dominican Republic is extremely aggressive. That doesn't mean that people don't sneak through. It doesn't mean that guards aren't taking a payoff from a Haitian at the border that wants to come across. I mean, like, yes, in fact, I think there's too much but language when we do these things, right? It's like, I'll say they're really aggressive at the border, and then somebody's like, but guards will get paid off. It's like, no, it's all and, right? Let's just acknowledge that it's all true. There's a very aggressive presence at the border. And a lot of Dominicans hate Haitians, so they don't care. They don't want to be paid off. They're going to keep them on that side of the border. And the Dominican Republic is being very aggressive with deportation. In fact, that's driving up construction costs and it's delaying construction delivery. We can get into that. So there's a very aggressive posture with local Haitians, meaning deporting them back across the border. And the Dominican Republic has the right to do that and has to do that because it's absolute chaos on the other side of that border. So there's been zero coming across the border as far as like news of feeling of unsafety and all of that. There was a post on Twitter or X that somebody put up, and it was a shot at the American border crisis. And it was like, Dominican Republic has a 12-foot wall, drones, this, that, and the other. Like, what's up, America? And Elon reposted it and put, interesting. He just put the word interesting, which prompted the president, Abinader, to invite Elon down to check it out, right? So, like, who knows what comes of that? It's kind of interesting. But the point is, the border is there's a very aggressive posture at the border. There's a lot of, there's all the crazy things happening as well. There's bad actors on both sides, but there's just not a feeling. I mean, maybe near the border, but I talk to people in Santo Domingo, Monte Cristi areas near the border. They're like, nah. Like I said, the only issue now is Haitians represent the low cost and plentiful labor here. So when you're talking about a construction project, you went under contract on a year ago, and now this year the developer's telling you it's taking longer than we thought. And oh, by the way, cost of labor and materials went up, and we have to charge X% based on the contract. That's because a lot of the Haitian labor is being shipped back across the border. So again, doesn't make it right, wrong. It's just a fact. It's just a statement of fact, talking to developers that the Haitian crisis, the biggest impact is cost of labor and availability of labor, or anything. Construction projects, is probably most relevant to this discussion.
Interesting. I've got a question here from same questions from two different people. Martez, what type of taxes would I have to pay if I move to the DR?
So we're talking about, I'll go income and I'll go property. So if you're buying a property, the tax structure is this. It's 3% transfer tax on the purchase price at the time that you buy it. So if it's a $100,000 home, you're going to pay $3,000 at time of purchase. And then it's 1% of the value over about 170,000 US. So in our example, because it's under 170, you wouldn't pay any property tax. If it was worth, say, $300,000, you would pay 1% on the difference. Where's my finger? 1% on the difference between 300,000 and 170. So about $1,300 a year, right? About $130,000 would be taxable. It's about $1,300 a year. So that's the standard. However, the Dominican has something called the Confotur law, Confotur. If anybody wants to look this up, Confotur. And what that is, if a development project, and many of them in Punta Cana, in Las Terrenas, any of the area where foreign investment is coming in, are probably approved for Confotur. If they're approved for Confotur, it waives the 3% transfer tax, so you won't pay that. And you get, I think it's up to 15 years, 10 to 15 years, no property tax paid, none. So you owe no property tax for 15 years. Just a couple of little nuances on that. It's technically not transferable. So if you sell the property, it doesn't transfer to the next buyer. You get one shot at it, essentially. However, I've heard that if you buy in an entity, then you could transfer the rights of that entity to a new buyer, and they get the remainder of whatever 15 years of tax-free that you get. But that's the tax structure from a property perspective. Income tax, and I think this is just the U.S. I mean, you probably have the same thing, I would guess, in Jamaica, but U.S. you have to file a return no matter where like the U.S. requires. If you're a U.S. citizen, I think they're the only country in the world that makes you file, no matter where you live in the world, and no matter where you're making your income in the world. My income is all U.S. based, so I'm just filing a U.S. return. I don't do anything with DR. I'm starting to take income in the DR, which allows me to leverage the foreign income tax credit. I don't know if you do that or not, Throp, but foreign income tax credit allows you to be tax free for the first 120, I think, of income that you make abroad. So you have to establish a tax home in another country, which I'm just starting this. So I assume that means have an entity and proof of income in another country. And if you do, then the first $120,000 earned is tax-free in the United States from a federal perspective. So that's the income tax, but that's not specific to DR. That's more like that's a US law. But I don't pay any proper income tax in the DR because I don't earn any income, or I haven't yet earned income in the DR. Just about to start.
I believe with that, the U.S. tax, if I'm not mistaken, you have to be the most amount of time that you can spend in the U.S. in a calendar year is 30 days.
Yes, it's 335 days. Thank you. You have to spend 335 days abroad, not in the U.S. And like any moment in the U.S. counts as a day. So like if you had a flight that landed at 11:58 p.m., that's a day. That whole day counts as a day. It's not like, oh no, I got here 2 minutes before midnight. Like, no. You landed and checked in at 11:58. That counts as a day. So if you have some back and forth, and I do, you have to be mindful of how many days you're back in the US. Absolutely. Great point.
Yeah, I've had a lot of these passport conversations with my accountants and just being very, specific and intentional about when I do go back. When I was not that it's a game, but like, when I was
it is.
Yeah.
It is a game. You have to make sure that you're like, I can, because it's not, you can't game it, right? Like there it is. Your passport's going to show it. You are, or you're not more than 30 days in country in a year. So yeah, 100%.
Got a question here from Aubrey. Jamie, what are your thoughts on businesses without a RNC number and not paying taxes on their business income? I notice a lot of local Dominican businesses don't pay taxes. And then also explain RNC.
I don't know RNC. That's a good question. Again, like people ask about like the structure down here. Like my businesses are all US based. I'm what they call income hacking, right? Where you make a currency one place and you spend it in another place. So I don't know what RNC, but I know what his point is, and that is that you've got sort of like a lot of under the table business dealings here for sure. I think the one issue for the Dominican Republic right now, from a financial perspective, from a world markets perspective, is this. They have actually gone up in credit rating. Fitch's, Moody's, S&P have all increased their rating. So if you look at credit rating, like US was downgraded to like AA from AAA or whatever, there's two segments of credit rating. There's investment grade and there's speculative. So, and then there's levels within each. So DR was upgraded to the very top of the speculative class, which means if you're going to invest here, it's still a speculative investment, and the DR has to provide a high return. 8, 10, 12% for any money that comes in. The one thing that's keeping DR from clicking up into the low level or any level of the investment grade credit rating is that they don't have a broad enough tax base. A lot of tax incentives given. So to this question, I think I get why. Like all of us want to shelter our money from taxes, no matter where we live, right? We don't like taxes. But the DR does need to figure out a way to sort of, crack down or create a broader tax base. And it's not, by the way, going to the $500 a month earner who doesn't pay taxes and making them pay taxes. That's not where the money's coming from. But they do need to do that in order to tick up to the next level of being investment grade. And then, my God, the money that can flood into the Dominican Republic is huge because it becomes a low risk investment in that regard. So, or lower risk. So that to me is that's RNC. Okay, that's the IRS. It's funny, my wife's cousin works for that entity. I didn't even know that. But sorry, it doesn't show it, everyone. I see it over here. But my thought on taxes is DR needs to figure out a way to broaden its tax base to see the real true next level of stability financially and next level investment grade for the country.
Thank you for that. This is from Jay Fitz. I don't know if this is a real question, but he says, does the DR ever issue travel advisory against the US with all the mass shootings we have here?
I believe, I don't quote me, but I believe if you were to start searching this, that is a travel advisory for all countries to the US, like European countries. Like, we in the US, we bubble, right? We get in our mind like we are the superpower and we issue the travel advisories. We say where it is safe and where it's not safe to go. And I don't know if you experienced this drop in Jamaica, but people here, like we have friends that went to a conference in the States and they're like, so nervous. My husband's going up there with all these shootings. Like there's kind of like, oh my God, I'm so nervous to go to DR because I heard of a lady dying on a plane. Like it goes the other way, right? Like when people land here, I don't know if it's the same in Jamaica, but you have to go through customs and then you have to take your bag and put it through an x-ray machine. And I hear so many Americans like, why they need to do this? why do they need to do this? I'm like, because you're in their land now, okay? And they don't want your drugs in their land, right? So like, it's just this mindset. Like when you left, if you were going the other way, would you expect the U.S. to scan a bag coming from the Dominican? Of course you would. Why does the Dominican get less, or Jamaica have? Why would they have a lesser standard? It's such, and I hate to be that guy, but like you expand your perspective living in another nation. It's such an American thing to say, like, why would they scan my bags? It's the same thing with travel advisors. Yes, Dominican, I'm sure Jamaica, all European nations have a travel advisory saying, you're going to the US, mass shootings, that's a problem. You got to watch out for that. So that is absolutely out there. Absolutely out there. I love the question, Fitz.
I remember, sorry to even bring this up. This was like shortly after that Buffalo mass shooting where the guy went into the grocery store and just started killing Black people. And I remember going back to New York like shortly after that and going in as in Brooklyn and going to my local Walgreens, and like it was just like a very short stint of anxiety and shock that hit me. Is like, is somebody going to come in here and start shooting this place up? And I was just like, why am I like, it was just so crazy that my brain went there automatically. Like, and I was like, just became very fearful in that moment. And I was just like, that's the first time that ever happened to me. And I was just like, this is so crazy. Like, why am I even thinking that way? And I just, went about my business. But it's just, it's the reality of being there, unfortunately, sometimes. And obviously nothing happened.
Look, there's two things on that. The anxiety of sending our kids to school, even just the active shooter drills that are required in the States. Like that is so traumatic. That is so traumatic. We did fire drills, right? Like that, that's not a crazy thing. Like, hey, there could be a fire. This is where you go, right? Like, yeah, okay. But like, hey, kids, let's pretend a man just came into the school with a gun and wants to kill us all. Where do we go? Like, that's just like, are you crazy? It doesn't happen here. And to your point, the town I live in Michigan is beautiful. It's Pleasantville, dude. Like Christmas, they do a tree lighting. They've got like a guy with like a Fezziwig hat on from a Christmas Carol. It's just is like this Hallmark Channel town. And they have these little festivals every month in the summer, the barbecue and blues festival, whatever. And there's this little downtown, like 3-story buildings, right? I'm staring at the roofs of all of those buildings while we're walking through town because I'm waiting. Because you saw in like beautiful, town, one state over in Illinois, it happened. There was a little beautiful, well-off town, and somebody just decided it was time to shoot it up. So that stuff it just drives me nuts.
Got a couple more questions here. This one's from Simone. Hey, Throp, Jamie, not sure if you saw my question, Jamie. What are your thoughts on cruise on land in Punta Cana?
I don't know it well. I'm familiar with it. It's growing. There's a lot of these. I get a lot of these questions like, what about this development, this project? Like, I just don't know it well enough to comment intelligently. I would just say this, no matter what, have they done any other deals? Have they developed any property before? And, what's proof of that? And then 2, in the contract, I would look for language that says that they have to pay you back something if they go over the delivery date by a certain amount. Like they may say delivery is going to be December 2025. If it goes past June 2026, though, you should get payment 1% a month or something like that for every month they delay it. That's 1. And then 2, in the contract, look for how they are going to increase the price of the project. Like what index are they tying it to? So there should be some language, like, because it could go up and they may say that like price could increase, but you want to have language in that contract that says how they're going to actually show you the increase in price, what index, what government website, whatever it might be. That's what I would say.
And so personal question on that, like, how is the recourse in DR when things don't go right with a development or anything? Like, are you confident that you get your money back or justice will be served, so to speak?
It's still fun. It depends on who you talk to. That's the biggest thing that I hear from people. Like I haven't done that deal where it's gone south like that, so it's hard for me to say. But like most people say that the recourse is not great. Like that's one thing DR has to get better at from a government perspective is like an SEC-esque type of agency that really vets these developers. Because if the developer or development goes sideways and there's nefarious activity, like just kiss the money goodbye is what I hear.
Okay. Question here from Old Town Does DR and Jamaica have home insurance for hurricane damage or earthquake?
The answer is yes here. I'm told it's like typically about 1% of the value of the home is the cost per year. So if you have a $300,000 home, you're going to pay about $3,000 a year for insurance. What's interesting though is because labor and material costs are so low, there's some people that are like, like you're building a full-on construction, I'm sorry, a full-on concrete building with rebar in it. Like the catastrophic loss of the house is probably not likely. Maybe an earthquake, but we don't have terrible earthquakes where we are. In Port-au-Prince they do, and in the north they do a little bit. But yeah, that's yes, about 1% per year is what I hear is the price essentially as a good barometer. But a lot of people go without it because they're just like, the cost to repair is so low. I don't need the insurance. What about Jamaica?
Yeah, we definitely do earthquake as well because we sit on a fault line. We actually, I forget, I don't remember the year, but we lost it. This is way like over 100 years ago, something. We lost like an entire city due to an earthquake that it's like still underwater, obviously. And then of course hurricanes, same thing. I don't know I don't know the exact price. I know we do like heavy negotiating with I'm talking specifically here at the hotel. It is ridiculously expensive for sure, insanely expensive, but you have to, in order to have an operating hotel, you have to have insurance. I don't know I know the dollar figure, but I don't know the percentage.
Yeah, makes sense.
What else we got here?
Someone from Sweet Feather. DR's indigenous Taino heritage sites. I don't know if that's big money. Developers can't swoop in and build on them. I don't know about Taino heritage sites per se, kind of like Native American reservations, but there's a robust national park program here. So there's like, for instance, to go from where I am up into like Samana Peninsula, there's a highway, but there's an ideal passageway. Like it would be so easy, but you can't build there. You can't go through there because it's preserved. So there's preserves here, but I don't know about specifically for Tainos like a reservation. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you that there's a lot of protected land here for sure.
Yeah, we have that. We have that here as well, all over. Okay, everybody's reminding me of it's Port Royal is the city that sank in 1692.
Hey, can we get to Davis? I'm kind of curious about this too. Average cost of a one bed, one bath condo in Negril, electricity, food, Maid. Do you mind sharing that? Do you see that one from David Jackson? Just a couple above.
Oh, I see. Okay. Tell us about a little about Jamaica. Average cost of one bedroom, one house price, electricity, food. Okay, so generally speaking, electricity, we have one of the highest electricity rates in the entire world. So that drives up where do you guys get your electricity from?
Private company locally, but same thing, man. It's like 54 cents per kilowatt hour. So my electric bill, I have a house, 4 bed, 4 bath, 4.5 bath. We pay, and we don't have central air. We only have air conditioning in the bedrooms. We pay like $600 a month US.
Wow. Let me see.
Big house though. More house than we need, but it was the only one we could find that we could rent quickly.
I live in a studio apartment and I'm paying about $200 a month, and I'm never there.
There you go. That's more than me then. If you're in a studio for 200, only 1/3 the cost of my 4 bed house that I'm always in.
Yeah, I'm about like 28,000 Jamaican, 30,000 Jamaican a month. And like I am never there. It's crazy. Like I'm always working. It's a place for me to sleep. Like that's it. And yeah, about 30,000 Jamaican. What was the question?
Food, Maid, schools.
I can speculate on that a little bit. I don't have any kids. I don't have a maid, and I don't cook, so I'm probably the worst person to ask. But our minimum wage recently went up. Let me do the math here. So it's 15,000 a week, which is 100. So basically $100 a week, about our minimum wage, 100 US. That is. If you're looking for a one bedroom, of course, it depends on where you're going to go. If you're going to do like a gated community, I would say you're probably going to be a minimum 15, and I'll speak for Negril, you're going to be around 1,500 US for per month for a gated community, at least the ones that I'm thinking. Some a little bit higher, to be honest.
That's to rent the house.
So I would say a 1-bedroom apartment. Yes, yes.
Okay. Yep.
If you're going to do a house, again, thinking about specific, you're going to be a couple thousand, probably almost 25, at least 20, I would say 2,500. I'm just thinking about a house that I know of in a gated community, but
Yep.
and I'll get into this in a second. Here in the grill, is it raining? If you see me run, that's because I got to go get the camera and it started raining.
Okay. I could touch on this if you need to, so go for it. Yeah.
So, about 2,500. And what you're saying before about the demand, like, so Negril, we don't have enough housing. So we have, there are 1, 2, 3, I want to say, call it 4. There are 4 gated communities here, and they're all sold out. They're all, and
Wow.
to try to get a home, like, and there are 2 that are like, buy the land, you build your house. So if you're looking for a turnkey solution, you only have 2 options here in Negril for a gated community, and that's it. There's nothing else. I keep hearing rumors about developments coming, but there is nothing else. So you're going to be paying quite a bit of money. So now, if you wanted to purchase, so we'll give my perspective. So a complex that I live in, if you're gonna buy a studio, I know you said 1 bedroom. If you're gonna do a 1-bedroom apartment, you're probably gonna be at about 300,000. I would say that's it.
Crazy.
And I don't know if you can find that, and then that's also because there's nothing else. There's nothing else.
Like, you can find that here. 300 grand is easy for a 1-bedroom, but you can also find, 100 grand, 80 grand, 90 grand for a 1-bedroom. You know what I mean? So, like, to your point, like, that's the minimum, 300K to get in, it sounds like.
Yes. And then, so
Wow.
if you want to, you can buy a 1-bedroom in a non-gated community outside of Negril. But there comes with certain inherent risk in doing that. And you can buy like a house, like I'm talking about like an apartment.
Sure.
If you wanted to buy if you wanted to buy, like, I'm thinking about like on the northern part of the beach of Negril, if you wanted to buy in the only other gated community a home which is 2-bedroom, you're looking at about $500,000 to start, and that's buying from an existing owner. There's nothing left. Yeah, right. I would say to start.
What is food like there? Like, so if you were to go grocery shopping for like, just, I don't know, for a week's worth of food, is it like here we'd pay between $200 and $300 a week for food?
Yeah, food here is expensive.
Family of four.
No, I mean, that's going to be higher here, at least in the grill. So like when I rarely go food shopping, but like when I do go food shopping for myself on a week, it's going to be $100 for me.
For one person. Yeah.
One person. It's going to be $100.
What about maids? What's the price of a maid right now? You said you don't have one, but do you have a sense? Is it like here it's like $300 to $400 a month. We pay $500 for our full-time maid, but USD.
Yeah, you're gonna pay it like that, at least $100 a week. That minimum wage, like you're gonna pay at least $100. You're gonna pay $100 a week.
So about the same, similar. Is that like Monday through Friday full time? Like like a 40-hour maid per week?
Yeah, that's a full-time salary, but I don't know if that's the norm or the average, but that is the minimum.
Got it. Very cool. And then schools, do you have any sense of like the cost of private school for a kid, per kid?
Private school is very expensive here. So there's this one place not far from Negril called Fairfield Academy. It's like right outside of Montego Bay. It's like, I think it's like 30,000 or a little less than 30,000 a year.
Per kid?
Per kid.
Wow, that is pricey. We're lower on most of that. So electricity, I mentioned about $600 for a 4-bedroom house. Food, we talked about Maid, $400 or $500. Schools, you can go anywhere from say $5,000 a kid to $20,000 a kid, between 6 different schools here. They're all bilingual, all international, all private, in Punta Cana specifically. Santo Domingo has a similar range. In fact, I've heard there are some in Santo Domingo that are even more expensive, but that's the deal. And then somebody's here about Santo Domingo, 3 bed, 2 bath, light, $200 a month. The lady 6 days a week, $400 a month for two, 600 for a bath. Yeah. So Punta Cana in particular is on private electric. Santo Domingo is on, I think parts of it are on private electric as well, but I've heard it's subsidized. Like there's subsidized electric, like SEPM, which is the local electric company, doesn't use the grid or whatever, the national grid. So we pay more. But and Piantini is where this guy lives, Old Town. That's a nice spot. But yeah, it's less expensive here, it sounds like, than the grill in Punta Cana than the grill. But there's some similarity in like cost of labor and so on. So
yeah, and the grill is it's expensive here. You know, it just even the gas. You know, I don't know what it is. It's in liters. I can't even do the conversion. But you know, even the gas here is expensive. Like
it's like $6 a gallon, $5-6 a gallon if you were to convert it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a, but there, I mean, you can do Jamaica in a much more affordable way for sure. But
yeah, same.
You know.
But that's the thing, man. Like, right. And I think I did a video on my YouTube channel, shameless plug, on cost of living. I actually just reacted to somebody else going through cost of living in like a North Shore town, not Punta Cana, like another part of the country. And it added up to like $4,200 a month for a family of four. And that was not including private school. But I hear that. So like, you could do it for $1,500 or $2,000. Like, yeah, like we talked about before, but like, where do you want to go and what do you want to do and how do you want to live? Like most people following us, I would assume, are living the kind of lifestyle in the US that they want to live down here. So you got to expect to pay $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 US a month to have the same lifestyle. More bang for the buck. You have the cleaning lady and all of that, right? Like you get the weather and the community and all, you know, that you don't have to worry about school shootings. But yeah, you get what you pay for. So you can live in areas that are cheaper for sure, but I think you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. All right, Jamie. I thought we were just gonna go an hour, but we keep going here, man. But I want to be respectful of your time, and I know it's Sunday and your family is there. And
we go beach hopping. We got 3 beaches we're gonna hit today, so that's the plan.
Amazing, awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. Please let us know where everybody can follow you.
Yeah. On Instagram at the Jamie Gruber, THE Jamie Gruber. I don't have my chat on if you don't mind dropping it in there. That's my Instagram. YouTube is the same. I think it's the Jamie Gruber on YouTube as well. I appreciate the subscribe. I'm starting to build my YouTube. I've been building my Instagram. And then for those that are here following me or that are here because of me, because I announced it, at Throp. Go follow Throp over on the Jamaica side. He's on Instagram, and then of course subscribe to this channel so you get more information on him. Like you're doing an amazing job. I follow what you're doing. We talk every other Tuesday as well, obviously now, but I'm following what you're doing. I'm inspired by it. Your podcast, the stuff that you're working on, amazing. So I appreciate this is an honor, man. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. And sorry, before you go, you have to tell us about your podcast. I've been like just
come on.
I'm not even kidding. Like it's become I probably listen to it almost every day, if not every other day. I'm not.
Wow, that means a ton. Oh, so yeah,
it's ridiculous. Yeah, please.
Thank you. It's called Tribe of Millionaires. Tribe of Millionaires. So it's talking to highly successful people. We've had some really, really cool people on there, people that you've heard of as well. So check it out. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, man. This has been great. And we will be on your page, on your channel, on Instagram at some point in the next few weeks. I'll make
next
sure
week or two.
Everybody.
Yeah, I told Throp it was supposed to be this Tuesday, but we have Semana Santa, so I forgot. It's a Holy Week, so kids are off school. There's the stress of that for my wife. There's a stress of just being female, and then on top of that, me doing anything on Tuesday when she's got plans, like I just don't want to deal with that. So Throp was like, I totally get it. So not this Tuesday. We'll jump you on the following Tuesday, and I can't wait to go live with you on Instagram.
Okay, awesome. Thanks
Appreciate
again,
you, brother. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, we'll see you.
Yeah, bye. That was great. I'm so happy we were able to do that. But please go follow Jamie. He is actually a really, really, really good follow on Instagram. I'm learning so much just from observing him and how he does things. Like he's really like a guy, like an influencer guy. You know, I was talking about it with one of my friends. Like it's good, and I'm happy we were able to connect. And yeah, please give him a follow on his YouTube channel as well. His last video is really, really good, talking about and again, like the reason why we connected is like I feel like he's defending Dominican Republic like I've been I wouldn't say defending is probably like the wrong word, but just like dispelling, I would say, just ridiculous stereotypes, ridiculous rumors, and just bringing like boots on the ground information to people that follow him, like I'm doing with my channel as well. So we're definitely going to do that again at some point in the future. I think he's a great resource, and he knows real estate like crazy. I think that's why like I've kind of fell in love with his podcast, Tribe of Millionaires, because he just has some really high level just business people, successful people, but they also get into like really the nitty gritty details of real estate as well. So definitely recommend that. Not just saying it to say it, but he's really really good in that sense. So anyway, let me get up to some comments here. Thank you, you guys. I appreciate it. I'm really happy you guys appreciated him and appreciate his everything that he has to say. And yeah, that was good. I'm glad we were able to do that. All right, let me see if I could get to some comments. Want to hop back into the Pinnacle. There we go. Forgot about that. Yeah, it looks ominous out there. This is what I was looking at. Hanging with Mr. Kong says, we want Jamaica to be up there. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, hold on, who said this? Yeah, as Hanging with Mr. Kong says, Jamaica is out doing other islands. Wait, nope, that's not the comment I was looking for. I think I saved it. There it is. Jamaica may be the most expensive Caribbean island. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I always say like Jamaica is not the place to come to because you're going to save like all this money, and cost of living is much lower. It's just not the reality here. It's just really really not. It's just an expensive place. And then that's just the reality. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. That's just life here right now. This says, Throp, there's a new YouTuber traveling around Jamaica right now called Bless Up Jess, and her whole channel is about dispelling the negative stereotypes about Jamaica. Yes, I found her last night, actually. I started following her on YouTube and also on Instagram. Maybe I should, I was thinking about like even reaching out to her. Man, you all are really up on these things. Yeah, I've been watching her content and watched a few of her videos. I think she's doing a really, really great job, and also bringing a different perspective. And she's like walking around with her camera, Montego Bay, taking a taxi from there to Negril. And enjoying everything that Jamaica has to offer. And she sees the appeal, or at least sees the good in Jamaica in a big way. Yeah, let me reach out. I will reach out to her. I think she's doing a great job. I'm gonna shoot her a message, and maybe we already have a guest for Sunday coming up next Sunday. But maybe if she's still around, we can get her on the podcast. And she's like just starting out, getting her YouTube vlogging journey started. But I think what she's doing is amazing, and I think we should encourage people like her. Yep. Start following her. Let her know I sent you. Got to get that groundswell. All right, let's get to some more questions here. Tony Bunk says, so what about the Sheffield Palms? Yeah, I knew. I don't know where that is. I know about the groundbreaking, which was last year. But good question. Got to look into that. I got to look into that. This is the Sheffield Palms is or what I say, an affordable housing development that was. They did the groundbreaking ribbon cutting ceremony last year sometime. Speaking of real estate, just want to remind everybody about the real estate conference coming up next month, the International Real Estate Conference and Expo, which is next month in Montego Bay. As I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna have a booth there We're going to have a Throp X booth there, and the entire Throp Media team is going to be there. And I'm going to also be giving a presentation. So just wanted to remind everybody of that. And they are they're a sponsor actually for these live streams for the next few weeks, and we're doing a sponsored live stream on Thursday, every Thursday leading up to that. So we had our first one on this Thursday, and it went very well. I don't know who the guest is going to. Feel like they sent it to me, and I feel like I should know this. Oh, I don't know who the guest is going to be on Thursday, but we're definitely going to be putting it on the community page. We'll be going to be putting it on the community page, so make sure that everybody is reminded of that. And I just want as many people to come in and get their real estate questions answered on those Thursday live streams. All right, let's get back to the comments here. What's the price administration for the real estate expo? Is it only for realtors or in the real estate industry? No. Let's see if we can go to the website. So the expo is free. The conference is what costs. Hold on, I'm trying to bring it up here. So it's a homeowners expo. So the IRAC conference 2004 pricing. This is an early bird special valid up until March 29th. So the past 31,000 is for season 18 to 20th. And if you just want to book the, hold on one second. If you just want to book the, oh, sorry, I think I said it was free. I guess it's not free. I thought it was. But I think it's open to the public. I should say, not free. It's open to the public. So there's two different pricing. So non-RAJ members, Real Estate Association of Jamaica members, it is $31,000 if you want to go for the whole weekend, so to speak, for a few days. And then you can buy individually here. I'll throw this in the comment section so you all can see. And yeah, we'll be there. I'll be there. Thank you, Shana. Carlson says, Jamaica is far from being the most expensive Caribbean island. Try purchasing properties in other Eastern Caribbean countries. Oh, yeah. I would, yeah. From a land perspective, from a land value perspective, Jamaica is highly, highly undervalued. No question. 100%, Carlson, you are on point. The land in Jamaica is very, very undervalued. You know, try buying a beachfront property in Grand Cayman or in Turks. Like, oh my gosh, forget about it. You know, forget about it. So we have some appreciation that's I believe it's going to happen in the near future. Carlson says Sheffield Palms non-gated starting at 19 million. Oh wow, up there. Tisha says Throp Sheffield Palms is actually in the Springfield area, somewhat near Sheffield. I'm like looking for these questions. I thought I saved them, but I didn't save them. Anyway, let's let me know if you have any more questions or comments for the discussion that we just had with Jamie. I definitely want to do more of these, and as I mentioned before, I think two streams ago, I want to bring in do the same for Colombia. So there is a Jamie Winthrop version of what we do in Medellin. That like this guy that I was following, I believe he's from England and he lives in Medellin now. But a lot of cost of living videos. It's talking about crime and safety in Colombia and Medellin. And I'm going to bring them on as well. And I just think it just is like so cool and so important because the world and us as consumers, like we're inundated with these platforms and these outlets telling us basically how to think of a particular location or a particular place, and these are supposed to be trusted sources. And to me, it's like, what better of a trusted source than somebody who's actually living it, somebody who's actually breathing it, somebody who's actually decided to spend their money, raise their family in these said locations, like myself here in Jamaica, or Jamie in the DR, and this gentleman that I'm alluding to in Colombia. So who knows where we're going to continue to expand this to. I don't know if this is going to be a series, but I just think it's just so important that we bring in different people who are living these lives from these different locations, because it also gives us, the pro Jamaica people, if you will, the people who are very much interested in living in Jamaica, investing in Jamaica, who want to see Jamaica be better and do better. I think it just brings a lot of perspective to the table. And these skepticisms, these challenges, whatever you want to call them, whatever bucket that you want to put it in, is not unique to Jamaica. And I think with the discussion that we've had today with Jamie, like, that is more apparent and clear. And me looking at his page and consuming his content, it just clicked for me like almost immediately. I was just like, yeah, of course he's having the same problems in DR, and like, of course there's another person having the same problem in Trinidad or something, wherever it is. And this is like, why not come together, and share our perspectives and our experiences on these things with the world, and allow, not allow like these outlets to tell us how to think and what we should be thinking. Anyway, hang with Mr. Kong says, Throb, I just started a restaurant in Cartagena, Colombia. Please get me notified. Scott Caribbean, a bar and grill. I'm making this spot for Jamaican to come and enjoy. Awesome. I was just talking to, I had a friend here. He's a guest who became a friend. We share the same birthday, March 11th. And he's just been telling me about Cartagena like crazy. Like, he's just been pushing. And it was so crazy. We were in Colombia at the same time last year into this year, Christmas, New Year's. And I was in Medellin and he was in Cartagena. If I had known what I've gone to see him, probably not, because I was kind of set on my plans. But he's just been pushing it on me. He's like, you got to go there. I mean, this is so great to know that you have a place there. I will definitely check it out. Yeah, that's awesome. I say I want to go back this year, I'm pretty sure, and like I want to see some other South American countries. Even though I really enjoyed my time in Colombia, but I got to get my Spanish up. Like, that's one thing that I was telling him, is like, man, I felt like, Google Translate is great, but I felt like I missed out on so much with the culture and interacting with people, because like I just like asking questions, as you can see from this channel. But I just felt extremely limited in my communication, just always having to use Google Translate. So trying to learn Spanish is what I'm trying to say. Oh, he says it's in La Boquilla, Cartagena, Colombia. Cool. Thank you. We'll check it out. Cherie says, I know this is going back a little, but food shopping in JA can be reasonable if you go to the market to produce, and fishermen for the fish and seafood, things like that help. Yeah, I agree. You can definitely do Jamaica and even the grill at a much more affordable rate, for sure. Going to the market directly, like if you go to the Negril market here, you're gonna pay a premium, but it's convenient, and same thing, like if you buy a piece of fruit or mango, whatever, on the beach, like, you're gonna pay a premium, but you're paying for that convenience of the fruit lady coming up to you and probably peeling the mango in front of you and giving you your mango. So if you pay 500 Jamaican or maybe 1,000 Jamaican or whatever it is for it, like, don't complain. You're getting that convenience, and then they are walking up and down this beach, selling these products, produces to you and to everybody here. So same thing with the fish market, for sure. You're probably going to get a cheaper fish and then also support local fishermen if you go downtown to the local fish market, which needs to be upgraded, by the way. And then if you are going to go to Hilo and buy it from Rainforest Seafood, and you're paying for that convenience. Like we here at Travelers, we buy from Rainforest Seafood. I think it's a great service and it's a great product, consistent product that they have to offer. But yeah, there are ways of doing it for sure. There are different ways of doing it. Sore subject, Miguel. This is a little outside of what we're talking about. So Miguel's asking, "Hi, Throp, you still coming to UK in April?" No, it's not happening. Unfortunately, I got my MRI done on Thursday. Thursday, got an MRI done on my knee, and let me see if I can have it. I don't mind sharing this, but I'm gonna make a video out of it anyway because I think it's good to. I think it's good to kind of like let everybody know what I always talk about healthcare, but quality of care, and then also cost of care. So let's see, and just pulling out. I already had a meeting with my doctor yesterday. I'm gonna have to see an orthopedic surgeon. Not that I'm gonna have surgery, like we're not saying that, but basically, the findings of the MRI on my right knee, there is a complex tear of the mid body of the medial meniscus with radial component as well as peripheral horizontal component. No flipped fragments are noted, which is a good thing. There's a mild medial extrusion of the meniscus to the joint margin with slight bulging of the deep fibers of the MCL. No parameniscal cysts are identified. The overlying articular cartilage is intact. The medial and lateral collateral ligaments are intact. The lateral meniscus is intact. The anterior and posterior cuticate ligaments are intact. The quadriceps and patella tendons are intact. So basically, yeah, knee's no good. Knee is no good. Long story short, so I'm going to have to pull out a London Marathon, which I haven't done officially. I didn't even tell my coach yet, actually, the results. Met with my doctor yesterday, and he's obviously going to tell me to be the most cautious as possible. So, and not running, which I have been running on this knee. I ran this week, as a matter of fact, but last week, I should say. Anyway, going to try to figure out my knee situation. So, long story short, thank you for asking, Miguel. I'm going to have to pull out of the London Marathon, and I have a couple more races later in this year, but I don't know what's going to happen with the knee. Yeah, it sucks, but so it goes. Thank you for asking, and yeah, I will make a post about it because I know we were supposed to do a collaboration in London. I was actually looking to do like either a live podcast at a location or do a meetup in London or somewhere in the UK, but not going to happen. Maybe I'll get to the UK sometime later this year, but not this trip. Sorry, everyone. Okay, so let's hop back to the Pinnacle. Oh, Justin, I see your message here. Maybe you should send me a wrench too. I saw this. I didn't know what this meant. Did I miss something? Okay, yeah, let's hop back to the Pinnacle. Want to talk about that a little bit. And I know we hopped from the premiere. We hopped from the premiere directly to the live stream, and then the live stream went to talking to Jamie, so we didn't really have a chance to have a discussion on the Pinnacle. But I thought I was very happy with like how the video turned out. I was very like just honored also to be part of just documenting the journey of this, groundbreaking, first of its kind development in Jamaica. And like we were saying in the comments before, I do believe that there are going to be more of these kind of things coming on board, probably in different parts of the country, as a matter of fact. So, and I thought it was like when I was kind of coming up with the script of this and like doing the research and meeting with the team before going there, like I just kept like, to me, like the story was really not about like not about selling apartments or anything like that, but telling the story of the people behind the product, the people behind the development. And when we went to film, like that's kind of like where we went in, how we went into it. Like it wasn't like super like, hey, these are the questions that I want to ask and that sort of thing. But it became this underlying story about the all female, all Jamaican leadership team that they have there. And I think there's also like so much to tell, so much more to tell, I would say, about the development and the people behind it. I had to take this out, but like they're doing a lot. Not that I had to, but it just didn't fit in line. And I also think that there's going to be a lot more of these collaborations, if you will, with the team at the Pinnacle. But they're doing a lot for the community. You know, they have all these plans about about the environment, about local schools and all these things that they were alluding to, and they have planned that they're putting together, and like that stuff I want to get into like in a big way. And we're trying to figure out like how and when that's happened, and I want to be there for your different milestones that they're going to be doing, that they're going to be achieving as well. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing where this thing goes, and being there for the next 3 or 4 years or whatever it is. What else did I want to talk about with the Pinnacle? Yeah, and then also the what do you call it? The Plaza. I used to know this like the back of my hand. Hold on. Where their offices are. 1 second here.
Our intent is to.
Oops, sorry. Trying to remember the name of the Harbor City. So that's where their offices are, and then that's also like a new Plaza Montego Bay that they recently built. So they're doing a lot of different projects. Justin says, I was referring to my deleted message about joining Patreon. I didn't delete any message. I really don't know what message you're talking about, Justin. If you could say like what the message is, what the message was that you put. Corey MPA says, I have missed it. Did the Pinnacle have prices? No, I didn't put any prices there. But since you asked, I can actually tell you. 1 second here. So this is directly from their documentation that they sent me. So this I received. This was earlier this month, March 1st. So people are watching this, 10 years from now. Sorry, a year or two from now, and they're like, "Hey, these prices aren't what I'm seeing." So 1 bedroom is going for 1 bedroom partial view, 979 feet, 168 square feet, outdoor living, starting at 430,000, and then. Oh man, I wanted to see what the 5 bedroom penthouse 360 view was looking like. Oh man, they don't have that price. We can dream though, right? We can dream. And then the highest price that I do have is going. So there's 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom partial views, 2 bedroom mountain view, 2 bedroom ocean view, 3 bedroom ocean view. So the 3 bedroom ocean view, 440 square foot outdoor living, starting at $961,000. So that's the price range from a 1 bedroom, 1 bedroom at 430,000, all the way up to this is the exact prices that I have, all the way up to a 3 bedroom ocean view at 961,000. Hope that answers your question. Richard McLean says, I just finished watching the video drop. Amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Trisha says, if most Jamaicans shop local like we did back in the 90s when I was growing up, our farmers would be much better off. Agreed. But I was having this discussion. Who was I having this discussion with? Yeah, there's a bunch of guys. Like we were just talking about farming and um, I think just tradesmanship in general. But specifically, we're talking about farming and just like it's just been hard to get young people into farming sort of thing. I know we've talked about this before, but we definitely need more farmers. Let me just get through a few more questions here. Throp, why is all the land east of the 7 Mile beach and the road not developed? I'm not sure if I understand the question. I mean, why is the land east of the 7 Mile beach and the road is not developed? I'm assuming. I think if I understand your question correctly, like why is there more land on the land side is what you're saying of the beach, so that we have like gonna make me bring up the map here, which I don't mind. Oops. I think it was what you're asking. You're bring it up there. So are you asking like why there is more land east of the 7 Mile beach? So when you say east, I'm assuming you mean across the street where the Great Morass is here. And then here, I'm just going to try to build a little context here. Like this is obviously the beachfront property, which is probably some of the most valuable land in Jamaica, as a matter of fact. And the road situation, I will say why the road isn't developed. I am not sure. I was actually having this discussion with a guest who came up to me today, and she was like, "Who do we write to to complain about the state of Negril and its road?" And it's bad. Like there's no hiding from it. There's no hiding from it. Like it is in a very embarrassing situation right now. Really, really bad. Like the road, like it's so crazy how bad the roads are in Negril. It's got to be the worst. In my, at least in my time, it's got to be the worst it's ever been since I moved here. And it's so sad to say, but I think it is, and that's just the reality. I really, really think it is, especially on early West End, and forget about deep West End. It's always been terrible, but early West End, it's really, really unfortunate. And I don't know what is going on. I haven't heard any plan. Well, I heard one plan for like fixing up the road where there's water damage, but plans are plans. Where's the action? So I can't really speak to why. I really would know. I really would like to know myself. The brown area is the morass area. Yeah, I mean, even the green area, like this is morass too. This is all morass. Then we're gonna take a quick break. Let me see what I can show here. We're gonna take a quick break. I just need to get something to drink. We've been talking for over 2 hours right now. Let's see, what should we show? All right, we're gonna show the cottages. All right, be right back. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the tour today. And we're going to be taking a look at the newly renovated bungalows, or otherwise now known as the cottages, which we've gone through about half of them so far. And we're looking at cottages number 4 and 8 at this time. And this is just a view of the balcony. We changed the entrance from being in the middle. And so if you are familiar with the property, there used to be an entrance for 2 rooms in one of these bungalow housing structures, and now each room has their own entrance to the side and a little bit more privacy as well, because we split the balconies. So you don't necessarily have to talk to the neighbor if you don't want to, but you can of course go around if you would like. And moving into the room itself, these are brand new beds and frames and new design with the throw pillows and the standard pillows in the back there. And then you can also see the kitchenette unit that we renovated, and we'll get to in a second. Also, we added a working desk with a charging station, so you have USB and also Type-C there as well, right below the television. And that's for anybody who wants to get some work done, especially those work from home people. And this is a wider view of the room, and I just want to make note of the AC, because these used to be fan-cooled rooms, and now we got rid of the louver windows, and so now it's completely sealed up, if you will, with, as far as the windows go, brand new windows. And also want to bring attention to the ceilings. So the ceilings used to be flat, and now we brought them up to an apex to give a little bit more room and make it feel a little bit more spacious, but still maintain the coziness. And also bringing some more attention to the far right corner of the kitchenette that we have, and we'll get to that in a second, and also the newly renovated bathroom. So we basically gutted this entire place. Even the floor tiles are brand new as well. And this is another angle of the bed, and just want to bring some attention to the LED bed frame, as well as the embedded nightstands and lamps, and another view of the kitchenette, I should say. And as you can see, it has basically all the utensils and tools that you might need to cook a meal. Included is a mini fridge there down on the left, and a hot plate, coffee maker, ice bucket, all the knives and utensils that you may need to feed a small family. Not necessarily Thanksgiving dinner, but you can definitely chef it up in there, especially if you're staying for an extended period of time. This might be a perfect type of accommodation for you. And that essentially is the kitchen. And now moving on to the bathroom. And as I mentioned before, like floor to ceiling, new floor tiles, new ceiling tiles. Got the LED frame around the mirror just to give a little bit more lights. We changed out the square louver windows for the ship window, I guess you can call it. And we got the rainfall shower head and the glass frame shower door. Even the towel holders, those are all new. And again, trying to bring together everything in the room, the kitchenette, and to complete the cottage experience, if you will. So very happy and proud of how this was done, and really wanted to give a modern look and feel to this new room category, the cottage. And so also with this wider angle, want to bring attention to the closet. So you got some drawer space there, and you got some hanging space as well, and your safe, of course, and the ironing board is on the other side in between the closet and the window there. And yeah, another angle of the room, and also want to bring attention to that long standing mirror there, so full frame mirror. And that essentially is the bungalow, and this is kind of our way of paying homage to my dad and where he started from with this hotel, Travelers Beach Resort. Started right with one bungalow and grew to the 60-room resort that Travelers Beach Resort is now. And my dad hasn't seen it as yet physically. I think he's seen pictures and everything like that. So just want to share this renovation with you all. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. So back to our regularly scheduled program. All right, we back. God, we still got that map up. Okay, I think we're gonna start wrapping up here shortly, but shouldn't say that. Let's get through these some of these comments. Okay, Justin says I posted a message about joining Patreon if you want to discuss building in the grill, and it got deleted. That's why I made the comment about the rent. Oh, I don't know why the camera's doing that, but let me just switch to me for now. Oh, I don't know why it got deleted. I have no idea why it got deleted. Donald Bryce says if you have to ask the price of the 5-bedroom, you can't afford it. Yeah, pretty much. Trisha says I'm a chef and I've traveled extensively for work, and the U.S. is the worst place for food. When I travel to the Caribbean, I can smell the produce. Cherie says I saw Knucksford is now running through St. Thomas. That is so amazing, and St. Thomas is so deserving. It's been a long time coming for development on that side. Happy for them. Josh, tuning again from the UK, sent you a DM on Insta. Okay, I will check it out. I'm very backed up on my Instagram messages. I mean, like ridiculous. I'm probably like a month backed up. Peter V says commercial tourists checking in from Portland, Jamaica. Upon the beach, escape the cold. Good for you. Clarity says, hi Throp. Well, what is the monthly cost to stay in one of your cottages? We don't have monthly pricing. You know, you're probably like in season, just to give you an idea, like you're looking at about 200 per night. But if you were to stay a month, we can definitely work out a deal. Lloyd Roberts says, good day, Throb. Thanks for your time on my visit to travelers. My question to you, does the U.S. citizens and other foreigners who purchase house or do business in Jamaica obliged to pay taxes in the U.S.? Yes. So you're not going to pay. I mean, hold on. I think I'm answering. Hopefully, I'm answering your question correctly. So you can't be double taxed. So like whatever taxes that you pay here on land or whatever, like you know, is this, or even like your wages, like it's taxes here. But you still do have to file in the US, and we were talking about this with Jamie. Forget what it's called, but if you stay abroad for 330 days, I believe it is, basically 335 days. Basically, if you can only be in the US on US soil for a maximum of 30 days in a calendar year. You can basically get up to $120,000 tax free, essentially. But you still have to file, you still have to pay, but you can't be charged like statutory deductions here and also in the US kind of thing. Enrico Mullins says, sent you a message on LinkedIn. Not sure if you checked that. I almost never check LinkedIn. Okay, I will check that. I will check all platforms of messages. Let's see if this camera's working. Okay, back to normal. Trying to remember if we have any announcements this week. I will say for the next week, for next Sunday, we have a guest coming on talking about. She did these coloring books, these African coloring books. She's a guest here, and she donated a bunch of them to NEAT, my family's nonprofit organization, the Girl Education Environment Trust. And they are so amazing. They are so amazing. And I just want, I wanted to do it live while she was here. She's a guest here, but we just couldn't. It was just too last minute. And we have her coming on next Sunday, so that's going to be our next Sunday guest. Another announcement, as I mentioned before, Thursday, we're going to be having the live stream with a representative from the Real Estate Association of Jamaica on Thursday at 5 p.m. Jamaica time. And that's it. I think we're going to end it there. I mean, I guess you guys got any questions? I think we're going to end it there. Yeah, I think that's it. Start playing our closing music. All right, everyone. This has been a good one. This is a good Sunday. This is a good Sunday live stream. I think that's it coming up. My this week we have, hopefully we're gonna have my birthday party. So we celebrated my birthday in White House last weekend, and did a vlog. We're featuring a bunch of like local young entrepreneurs on this vlog, and they were all at my birthday party, and we did this feature, and I can't wait to put it all together. So that's going to be this weekend's video coming up. And then Sunday live stream, Thursday live stream. What's the next one we have coming out? I think the following one is a real estate video coming. But we're rolling them out. We're rolling them out. We're going to be back on schedule about getting weekly videos out. The Pinnacle video was a beast. It was a beast of it, and it was much. We wanted to get it out the same week. We got it out 4 weeks later. But it was good. I hope you all enjoyed it. And yeah, keep in mind about the Realtors Conference. And let me just throw it up one more time. Want everybody who's interested, grab their tickets. And then also, if you want more information, you can visit irc.realtorsjamaica.org. Find out more information about the International Realtors Conference. Hope to see some of you there. You know, if you are going to be attending, please let me know. I would love to say hello. Love for you to stop by our booth and hopefully come to the keynote speech that I'm going to be having at the conference as well. Okay, we're going to leave it there, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I hope you all have a great, productive week, and I'll see you on Thursday. See you soon, people.